Hey everyone, welcome back to the Outclaws Podcast. You are now listening to Season 2, Episode 4, where we dive into the book Talons of Power, the fourth book in the second arc of the Wings of Fire series, featuring Turtle as the protagonist. This episode takes us into animus magic, hidden power, Darkstalker's growing influence, and Turtle's struggle between staying invisible and finally stepping up. So settle in, keep your soul safe, and let's get right into it. I will now hand you over to your host, Atticus Brendan.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the Outclaws Podcast. Today, we'll be discussing Talons of Power, the 9th book in the Wings of Fire series. Before we begin, this episode will contain spoilers for the Wings of Fire series up to and including book 9, so please keep that in mind if you haven't read that far yet. In this episode, we'll be looking at Turtle's role as a quieter and more reluctant protagonist who has spent most of his life trying not to be noticed, but is ultimately forced to confront the power he has been hiding, as Darkstalker's influence continues to grow exponentially, leading to animus magic becoming increasingly dangerous and an enemy to become more unstable down the arc. I'm your host, Atticus, and here are the guests for today.
My name's Gabriel, but you can call me just Gabe for short. I'm a pianist. I also make music, but along with that, I also, of course, enjoy reading. The series that got me back into reading after I stopped for a long time was actually Wings of Fire, so I have a really big soft spot for this series, which is why I'm really excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, thank you very much for joining us today, Gabe. We would love to welcome you to this podcast. Your music are amazing. I really like them. I mean, we have collaborated, and yeah, I'm looking forward to the points you've made, and definitely it's going to be a very interesting experience to chat with you today. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I'm Atlas. I make content and also like to 3D print cosplays.
Welcome to the podcast, Atlas. So that's very cool. Like the ideas you've shared with us previously regarding to how you make cosplays is absolutely amazing. Like you have a lot of creative thoughts, and I really cannot wait to see what you can bring to the podcast. This is great.
Yeah, totally.
Hello everyone, I'm Fythir. I first found out about the series in 2018. Thought it looked cool. Was pretty cool. Found out about the podcast after wanting to do more research about this in 2020. I'm a student. I don't do any outside activities. I study astrophysics, so pretty cool.
Wow, that's very cool. Very specialized. So astrophysics is something that, allows us to potentially have intergalactic travel, making it possible. So that's definitely very cool. So yeah, we have a lot of different people with different backgrounds. So I'm very excited to see what you can bring to the table as well. This would be a very interesting discussion. And perhaps maybe we can get in some scientific points regarding to this book at some point and see what you think of it. So yeah, welcome.
All right, my name is King Feraligatr, or KF King Feraligatr, or whatever. You could just pick your poison. Anyways, I'm a not only am I a gamer, I'm a video game modder. I modded for quite a few games in my time. Currently Halo mostly, but I've also done plenty of other games in the past. I also do some writing on the side. And when we talk about Wings of Fire more in general, I'll get more into like what some of the writing I do for that. But yeah, hello everyone.
Yeah, welcome to the podcast. And your writing is actually very, very interesting. I've seen what you've written. The scripts are really nice, and you have showed that things can go in a different direction and still end up in a really good story. Like, the things are really cohesive, so I definitely would like to see what sort of alternative thoughts you have for the story today. So yeah, well, like, thank you very much everyone for joining us today. And yeah, so I got some couple of general questions to ask. So how do you guys actually came into Wings of Fire in general? I know some of you might have already answered this, but feel free to go into more detail.
When I first found the Wings of Fire, it was actually there was some person talking about it on YouTube, and I thought it was interesting, the concept, because I've always been a general fan of fantasy, so I decided to look into it. And after reading the first book, I proceeded to get hooked and read all of them, which at the time was all the way up to book 14. And I grinded through all those books in about like a year. And not only did it get me back into reading in general, but also got me through a really dark time.
Yeah, there are definitely a lot of different history and backgrounds on how we got into these books, and yeah, sounds like you found something that is relatable, and it's good to know that you actually grew to love the series, which is cool.
So how I got into Wings of Fire, man, here we go. It's actually, I started my Wings of Fire journey in a different franchise's journey. In summer of 2022, a movie came out called Top Gun Maverick. And I love aviation. I grew up loving aviation, planes, and just watching like those fighter jets. Yeah, really, really good. Then I started drawing fighter jets, but then, I was like one day, what can I draw with a fighter jet instead of just like a foreign fighter jet? So then I thought of dragons. I originally was going to look into like Pokemon, other stuff, but I was like, I don't really like the designs of the dragons. So scrolling through YouTube once, found, I think, one of E-Boy's videos. They did like some animations. I thought the design of the dragons were cute, so looked into it, found out it was Wings of Fire, and a couple years later, we're here.
This is such an interesting way to really get into the series. You went from like Top Gun Maverick, which is a stunning movie. I love that movie as well. And you went from that, and then you thought of something that could really fly, and thought of some alternatives, and they eventually went into dragons. That is a very interesting way, a very unique background to how you got into the series.
It's crazy, I know.
Would be very interested to see what your perspectives are in this book, because that sounds very interesting. Yeah, good stuff.
Thank you.
I got into this series around 2018 when book 11 was released. I believe that's right. I was volunteering at my library, and I found it on the shelf and read it. Thought it was interesting. Decided to read all the other books. I also did fall in love with the character Blue. Very, very fun character.
That's a sweet character we would get into in the future. A lot of us have started reading those books in a sort of non-linear manner, so we didn't actually go from one book to another. Instead, we started somewhere in the middle of the series, or maybe towards the end of somewhere, and then we decided, oh, this is really cool, so we start going back to the right order and started reading it. So yeah, lots of people do that. I did that, so I got into book 4. Yeah, and before I actually got into go back to book 1 and read everything again. So yeah, that definitely happens.
All right, I got into WAF last year. I didn't even know it existed before last year. I mean, you can blame that on the fact I'm older. I'm an older reader. I'm in my 30s, so yeah. So I first found out about this series about like last year. I saw like some like picture of Scarlet on like Blue Sky or something, and I thought the design looked interesting, and then I eventually found out where she was from, and then I did research into Wings of Fire, and like I did like a lot of research before actually reading the books themselves. So I came in spoiled, but I also knew which order to read the books in. So I like when I was like researching it, I thought like the world building and like the setting was interesting. Reading the series, it has a lot of flaws, but it's all right. I definitely like some of the earlier entries because I've like the earlier entries were like just more brutal, more cynical, and it's just like it just as a like an older reader, just like really stuck out to me, and then just like some other potential in the series, like some stuff in like Arc 3 also struck me as having potential, but I won't get into that because that's spoilers. So yeah, I still Scarlet's still my favorite villain of the series easily. She's so evil, and I love it. The more you learn about her, the better she gets. Glory and Turtle are two of my favorite characters, and I don't know, turtles are the subject for this video. So yeah, to deal with my problems with Wings of Fire in general, uh, I have my own redo / rewrite AU that I've been working on, just like ideas and stuff. Um, it I still like the setting and like more than a few of the characters. I just feel like things could have been done better. But yeah, I like the dragons. I like it being dragon focused. I also like that the books are an easy read. I'm not much of a book reader. I've had problems had problems getting into reading conventional books. But yeah, easy read, dragons, interesting setting with potential. Yeah. Thank you for having me here.
Of course, yeah. That sounds like a very interesting way to get in. Yeah. So this book has actually attracted a lot of people in different stages of life. So some people in their 30s, some people even older, or some people quite young to get into it. I'm not too sure whether this is appropriate for like the actual target audience, but yeah, definitely very interesting on how deep this book actually goes. But at the same time, they made it a little bit tamer in the future, I guess, because the books in the beginning are quite deep. So I guess they're trying to make it appeal to younger audiences a little bit more. So I think that why 2ET Supplement has done that. But I do understand what you mean by you enjoying the deeper contents and the more brutal scenes in the beginning, so in arc 1 and especially. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Arc 1 is my favorite as well.
Yeah, so this is great. This is all great. Like very interesting on how we got into the books. We all have very different backgrounds on how we actually got into it. So this is very interesting to actually be able to know. And this time round, we don't have any returning guests, and everyone here is new, so it's really good to see how everyone got in, and yeah, backgrounds, everything is just so interesting. And yeah, I do want to ask though, because this episode is specifically focused on Talons of Power, which is book 9. I do wonder, at which stage have you guys gone into this book? Like, when did you start?
I read the book in chronological order. So I went from 1 to 5, then 6 to 8. I did not read Darkstalker. I read that after I finished Arc 2. And then I went straight to book 9 and just finished Arc 2 from there.
Wow, okay.
For me, when I first got into Wings of Fire, I didn't have the books because I just didn't have the time to go, look for them. So I just searched up online, saw Willowheart Studios, if you guys know them. They made the graphic novel dub movies. I first watched, I believe, book 3. Was confused, so I went back to book 1. Then I started continuing from there. I read it from chronological order. From book 1, I watched all of her movies up to book 5. I also got some of my graphic novels too. But up to book 5, I didn't move on to Arc 2. I read Darkstalker Legends. And then after that, that's when I started reading Arc 2, and then just read on from there. I think this was like during 2023 or 2024. So the graphic novels weren't out yet, obviously, and I just read the chapter books. I think it was around like the graphic novel 7 was out. Then I stopped reading graphic novels and just moved on to chapter books, and that's where I, just read the book. Just continue reading.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting how like some authors got started with like graphic novels first. The graphic novels are really good in like really highlighting the main points in graphical manner, so you have more visual input. But at the same time, like the book, the actual novels themselves with all the words and all the chapters, you actually have more detail in them that the graphic novel does not cover or probably skimmed through or skipped entirely. So definitely reading through them, you probably have an even better understanding of like all the grounds and all different scenarios of what happened. So yeah, that's great. And you got into Talons of Power, so you actually knew a little bit beforehand of that character before you actually got into it too. Very interesting. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
As for me, I got into it, as I said before, with book 11, and then I read the Legend, first Darkstalker, then Dragon Slayer. And then I read through the rest of the books up until book 11, or in order.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So you got into like you jumped right into Arc 3 and then you went back retrospectively to look back into the books before that and the Legends book. Yeah, very interesting. So in a non-linear order, but you get to know the events in the future, and then you go back to watch what actually happened in the past. Sometimes it feels a little bit segmented, but I do understand like how you can actually get a good background when you do that. Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
I do want to say that the graphic novel movies are probably another really good way to get into this book series if you do want to, start reading them again.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. Yeah. Go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Okay, yeah. So as I said, I did research on this series before getting into it, so I was able to read it in basically proper order. So I checked it out at my library. So yeah, I started with like Arc 1, then I did Arc 2, Darkstalker after Arc 2, then like Arc 3. I then like the Winglets. I tried Dragon Slayer, couldn't finish it. It was not my thing. I also read Guide to the Dragon World. I'm also read book 16 back in March. I'm all, besides Dragon Slayer, all the meaningful lore content I'm all caught up on.
Wow, yeah, very dedicated, and yeah, that's really good. So you have a really good understanding of the books, and definitely have a really clear perspective of the points. And so yeah, that's very cool. And definitely we could definitely explore some of the perspectives you have on how the different books actually work together. And it's good that you also have them in the order. So that's great. Everything sounds cool. As for me, myself, I actually went, because I read book 4 and then I actually read all of Arc 1. I actually read Arc 2 in order, so I definitely have got into this book right after Escaping Pearl. So it felt very connected. But again, something that kind of puts me off is that when I read this book like about 3 years ago, the pacing is significantly different. And I don't know, like this arc seems less consistent in terms of the pacing. Some books are faster, some books are slower. So yeah, it becomes a little bit hard to follow. This book seems a bit slower, but there are some really interesting contents, and it does go pretty deep in the characters and say how much each character has developed. So yeah, I'm definitely all in for that. Yeah, that's cool. So right, yeah, thank you very much for the introductions, and yeah, it's very interesting to see to get to know the backgrounds on how you guys got into those books. So I think we actually can go into like the discussion of the book 9 itself. So you guys ready for that?
I've
Yeah.
got my virtual copy open. I've got the wiki open. I'm all ready.
Wow,
I got my graphic novel.
Yo, I got it too.
wow.
Well, I guess I'll just get my book and I'll be all ready to go.
Yeah, that's cool. And then I got the notes, and thanks to Gabe for contributing to them. Like, it's really good to actually be able to have some references as well as a guideline. So, absolutely cool. We can start with the prologue, of course. When we get to the book, you can actually see some of the background of the characters. So, in the prologue, what actually happened in a nutshell is King Gil checks the SeaWing royal hatchery where like 2 more princess eggs are being guarded. Many previous female eggs were mysteriously lost. We actually don't really know how they actually got killed or smashed. God Abalone suddenly became violently ill, and Gil sends young Turtle to find Snapper for help. Turtle fails to find the right dragon in time, and Gil leaves briefly to get the healers themselves. And when he returns, the eggs have crushed, and in grief he actually have blamed Turtle very hard for this. So the cruel blame on Turtle has definitely given a huge impact to how Turtle later develops in his personality and the key things that happen to him. And then Cora decides she will personally protect her next daughter and names that future an enemy. Oh, this prologue is like the root of Turtle's guilt, self-erasure and fear of killing anyone again. It's very sad to actually see these scenes, and that applies to real life as well, because you have unexpected expectations on certain things that you otherwise would not really rely on someone this young to really carry, and the amount of guilt that you carry at such a young age would definitely warp how you act in future, and you probably would be scared to really do anything. So it's very hard to actually see this, and especially when you have something that is the impending doom, the sense that you have. You tend to really get tensed up and really want things to be done as an urgency, like that's the last resort. But again, you can't really expect somebody who is like essentially a baby to really carry such responsibility, but you don't have any choice. It's understandable. So you can see the 2 different sides and how they really acted. So, yeah. What are your takes on the prologue, actually?
Curl needs to stop executing random dragons for problems that they didn't commit. She's kind of a jerk, like major jerk. I mean, Gil is like comparatively like a nice guy. I mean, even in expanded material, you see him act as a nice guy. I won't get much into that, but I mean, it's like a shame, like where he ended up in book 1. Oh gosh, poor guy.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh my god. Yeah, like you come, because now you actually get to see like the humane side when he's actually like sane, rather than like being gone off thorough because all the torture. And you can actually see him being very reasonable, mostly reasonable and quite nice, and really is trying to care about everything. But you know, Koro is you can see the obsession there, where she really wants a princess, and she goes into such extremes to do this. And you know, this point, you the way that she executes random dragons, because she really wants to actively get her. You can see the obsession, and that is like, you can definitely see how an enemy would probably be affected by the way that Koro's acting. So definitely you would this already foreshadows how the different characters would develop. So you can probably already imagine how Turtle would move on, carrying on the guilt that never got resolved, and how an enemy would probably, from how it looks, will probably be very overprotected. As you probably already know from Arc 1, Book 2, you probably have already seen how she's attached to a harness and not really allowed to leave her other side. So yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Gabe.
All right, so my feelings on the prologue is that I think it's fine. It kind of sets up for how Turtle is when he gets older, why he's so unconfident. And I feel like the prologue shows that very well. He's given a task that's important, and he does not succeed.
Yeah.
And he gets criticized very harshly by his father for that. And he never really lets that go.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like there are lots of the character development, how everything started. There's usually, most of the time, there's always a cause and how things actually have taken shape. And yeah, and it's very, you can also see how the obsession is going, where they really, really, really want a princess to be in the palace, because an entire wing of the Deep Palace is used to house all the many surviving male princes. So there are so many princes that they have to really give an entire wing to get them all in. So yeah.
Weren't there like, I don't know, it was like they were like, it was like the low 20s or low 30s.
Yeah, don't remember the number on top of my head. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, so yeah, I guess the king and queen were locked in trying to get an heir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So Fythir, you can go first, and then King Feraligatr after.
I believe it was 24 princes at that time, and then it went up to like 32.
Yeah, the pace actually, it's going exponentially, and then they like keep going. They really, really want to get the goal moving forward. You can see like this kind of distortion is not really healthy, and you would see how things actually get affected. Yeah. Okay. King Feraligatr.
Oh my gosh! And then I think I reread this. I didn't reread the entire book when before this. I mean, I did read the graphic novel, so I did get a bit of a refresher, but that was like a few months ago. But anyways, yeah, I reread the prologue. Gil's like, oh man, I wish Orca were here. Dramatic irony. She made the statue that killed the eggs.
Yeah, that is like, yeah, that's like a huge review. Who have known, like, honestly, like, mysteriously gone and been crushed. Like, what else would be around to really do that when people are not looking? So there's something very fishy going on there for sure. Yeah, it's definitely. You definitely see how messed up this is, because the thing that they really want, the sort of obsession that they're going for, is essentially where, nope, you're not having what you want. And they said, if I don't get what I want, then I'm gonna keep doing things to extreme measures. Like, this is how like oppression and greed really comes in, and yeah, you can see like how much pain, how much suffering this causes. So yeah. Alice?
Yeah, so I was gonna talk about during the prologue, like when he was looking for it and Gil caught up with Turtle, you can actually see in the graphic novel that he actually had the coral in his hand that he uses to find whatever he wants, but I guess he just couldn't. Who was the dragon they're looking for again? He was looking for?
The dragon that they're looking for right now, that would be
Snapper, right? Yeah. So like, you can see like, you know, he has like the coral, and like he just couldn't find it. Yeah.
I mean, you, at the same time, like trying to really find someone, trying to find someone this young to really carry on this, you can understand the frustration, but at the same time, really blaming them really, really is a very bad idea. And sometimes, parents have to be very, very cautious on how they talk to their children, because anything they say, especially when they're young, that builds deep in their heart, and it gets engraved, and it's very hard to really take back what you've said and to fix that if you actually said something that's very hurtful and impactful in their life. So yeah,
like Turtle, he tried really, really hard. Like, he used an animus touched item to fulfill the mission, but still failed just because of time.
Yeah, exactly, because like I mean, when you look away, like that split moment, anything could happen. If you leave something, then you absolutely will not be able to prevent certain things that happen so quickly. So like, he tried his best, but then he still did not really he couldn't really explain himself. So you can see like how this usually form cracks in the family, and the dynamics between the parents and their offspring. And usually parents thought, oh, actually I've done everything I could and you're not doing your best, but the offspring actually might be tackling things differently, but then they don't get understood and they got blamed instead. So that's very heartbreaking to see, to say the least. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, if it's later down the book, you can hint at it. So if you want to say something about it, Fythir, feel free. But we will we'll reserve some of it when we get to it. Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah. All right. Do you want to say something though?
No.
All right. That's cool. Okay. There. Yeah. Like some, and also the point is that grief really overpowers somebody even if they're aware of the actions. And yes, it's very difficult to really control your emotions. It is very difficult, especially if you just lost somebody that you really really cared for. So you can definitely understand both sides. Nobody's really in the wrong. Like, I mean, definitely some mistakes. Nobody's perfect, but at the same time it's really difficult to blame either of them, because in this situation it's very frustrating for everyone. So yeah, definitely very deep. Okay, got any more points to add to your prologue? Yeah, Fythir?
Um, during when Gil is telling Turtle that it's all his fault because he couldn't find abalone in time, but it's gonna affect him a lot since
Yeah.
he's just like, I don't know, 2 at the time. Gonna eventually affect him a lot more than it should.
Yeah.
He'll probably like just want to hide away and not do anything important, which he does most of the time if you look back at the other books.
So how what I'm gonna say is like how that kind of relates is like, yes, it kind of impacted Turtle negatively, but also I think this also helps him so that way he can learn from the mistake that he apparently did, so that way he can do better in the future and do the right thing, and that's what we see later on in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. So there are some, not everything will like cause, would not be all negative, but some things can turn further. But at the same time, this sort of grief and everything kind of masks everything, and he becomes cautious about all the decisions. And when in the beginning of the book, I mean, you can already see like how things are quite shady, like why the god's like suddenly ill, and it's like an illness that nobody has ever seen before. Like, where did that even come from? So you can actually already see something's very strange. It's either like a very very sly assassin, or it's some kind of unspeakable force like behind all of this, because this seems all planned too well, as you can see. So absolutely. Fythir, go ahead.
It's definitely the Orca statue poisoning people. Definitely how it works. There's no flaws in that theory whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so definitely there's so much to really unfold in the prologue itself. Really, it's very well written. Like, imagine what we can get into in the book after that. But as you can see, this is more this is deeper and actually more slow paced compared to the previous one. Okay, so now let's move on to chapter 1. So this is where we go into present time, literally following the previous book, so immediately after escaping Pearl. While Darkstalker rises from beneath Jade Mountain, we're left at that cliffhanger, and then Turtle is like absolutely terrified and instinctively uses animus magic on a broken stick to really hide his entire existence from Darkstalker. I'm not too sure why that works, but I mean, yeah, that's what he wanted to do. Pearl attacks Darkstalker, but his invulnerability, the invulnerability makes it useless, really. Moon's shot that he tricked her into burning the scroll, while Winter is subtly enchanted or influenced into being more receptive and obedient to him. Qibli and Moon suddenly signal to her to go warn Jade Mountain. That is essentially like the premise of the entire chapter. And as you can see here, there are already a lot of things that are already planned, and it's starting to take shape why things are heading in this direction, and probably has been planned all along since the beginning of Arc 2. So yeah, it's definitely it's definitely very difficult to really be able to predict what happens. But now everything's starting to fall in place, and you would think, okay, what's gonna happen if they are already this influential, like just through dream visiting? Then what's gonna happen next when they're actually awake now? So yeah, definitely having really huge sense of impending doom, you would think. Yeah, go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Later it's revealed that Darkstalker made himself immune to like all other magic besides his own.
Yeah.
But like, how does like Turtle's stick affect Darkstalker so that he can hide him? It's just animus magic has so many problems, but like the stick affects Darkstalker even though he's supposed to be immune to other animus spells. Like what? I don't know if he cast that spell, but it still works later. But I'm just.
Yeah, sometimes that introduces some ambiguous cases in these situations. I kind of sometimes of them, but I do understand how this can be. I understand how this can be a bit frustrating or a little bit, inconsistent. Okay, go ahead, Fythir, and then Gabe.
The stick that erases Turtle's, like the existence of Turtle from Darkstalker. It affects Darkstalker, I believe, because of the fact that he hasn't cast that spell yet. He only cast the immune to all other animus magic spells after, I believe, when they got to the Night Kingdom, or a little while before that.
Could be.
Mm-hmm. That would explain it. Yeah.
And
cool. Yeah, that makes it a little bit more. Yeah, that makes it a little. That explains how this whole thing really works out.
Tiny bit more.
Yeah. And Gabe.
Two things. One, 5 year. That does sound right. I'm pretty sure he does say that within this book that he does a spell like that, so he doesn't get deceived like how he did in the Darker Legends book. And the other thing I want to mention is this way Turtle phrased his spell to hide himself. Again, usually when you use very powerful spells, at least the way I'm familiar with them, is that you have to phrase them very carefully, or else there are consequences.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And at least if I'm looking at the right part, I don't think he does that. This is like in my digital copy. This is page 36.
Mm-hmm.
Turtle really just thinks to himself, hide me from Darkstalker. And, he's pretty lucky that he literally hid his presence from him and not like, and not like hide him in the bush or something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Actually, pause. I take back what I said. I'm literally looking at the next page to double check myself, and he then rephrases it better to say that he literally does not know of his existence, and like no matter what. So that's better.
Mm-hmm.
So forget what I said.
Yeah.
Turtle, big brain moment.
Yeah. Sometimes there are lots of like, because of how pace is going. Sometimes these points, you probably tend to get confused a little bit. It happens sometimes. Yeah. All good. Yeah, I mean the thing you can also see here that I probably do want to make very quickly is that Moon also, you can also see how Turtle really does really being considerate here and is very cautious on how he uses the spells. But other people but other dragons like Moon says that Darkstalker can't put spells on her friends. And like Darkstalker is really trying to build that sort of trust on these dragonettes here, and you can see it's starting to already seep in. So the charm and the sort of friendly nature is probably the red herring in this case. Atlas.
I was gonna mention just the sheer size of Darkstalker. Like he came out of a literal mountain, and I would probably say the rough estimated size of a dragonette is probably around the size of a fighter jet, while an adult is probably around an airliner or just a normal cargo plane or something.
Wow.
What is the size of Darkstalker. When I think of that, especially when he came out of a mountain, I would probably say like King Ghidorah or something, you know?
Ghidorah, yeah, something like that, or maybe, I don't know, maybe as big as I don't know, some of the battleships in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this guy can like literally take on like Godzilla or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you would think.
It's like a kaiju level threat, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I think he was definitely like really massive. I believe the oldest dragons we've seen so far were like 100-year-olds, and those were very big. I think he would be like probably like mansions, probably like somewhere around mansion size. Probably that's like the 100-year-olds, right? I think it's like 10 times bigger than that or something.
yeah, he's probably like, yeah, like when the description of him like literally towering over the dragons, like you can see like the size difference between them, and by no means are like the other dragons like really really small. They're like average sizes, so you can see like the Darkstalker is like a giant. And when he says that he's been slowly growing for 2,000 years and jokes he's not like the darkness of dragons the prophecy he talks about, but maybe the one who shakes the earth and stomps. And you can already see how like this implies that something's already very very off. But at the same time, like the manner that he displayed in the beginning doesn't seem all that intimidating. You might think, oh, he's a friendly giant, but something doesn't feel right. Like a tactic that he's been using is too calculative to really ignore. So yeah. And especially with his size, yeah, you're probably, they've already probably already give the other dragons like a sense of, yeah, I probably shouldn't really mess with this guy, so if he is friendly towards us, we should probably continue yeah, just doing things. If he likes it, then we keep going with it. Yeah.
My one idea for like kind of his size is that I think on what he described later on is to be able to describe hold a dragon with one of his talons. So when I think of that, I kind of think of like something that like we can hold in our hands comfortably, and maybe that could go as a comparison of how big Darkstalker is compared to other dragons.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can already see size comparison. King Feraligatr, go ahead.
Based on the graphic novel, Darkstalker is indeed huge comparatively. Although the graphic novels have their size problems as well, so. Well, at least Mike Holmes, Jake Parker, I find is the better artist, but yeah, the graphic novel Darkstalker is huge.
Yeah, you can already see. So yeah, there you can see some. You can already have like the direct visual input, but I don't know why. I think this scene works better with the descriptions. So, but yeah, I mean, that kind of defines it. For you in the graphic novel. Okay, there are just a couple points I probably just want to make before we move on. We continue moving through the book, so we go into chapter 2. But yeah, there are a couple things, where Turtle. It's also hinted that Turtle actually wanted to be a writer and wanted to write stories. He felt like the stories really give him the chance to be connected to his mother. He likes all kinds of stories, and especially one about a dragon named Indigo. Is also that's also featured in a different book. But yeah, like saving the entire tribe from a deranged killer, and Turtle has fantasies of being one such hero. But because of all the guilt that he's been carrying since early on, hinted as suggested in the prologue, it becomes very difficult for him to really succeed on the stream. So instead of really being an aspiring writer, he tore everything up after what happened in the prologue. It's very sad to see, really, not gonna lie, because you can actually see he really meant well for everybody, and he actually started going into action very quickly. But the guilt really does suppress him, and he tries to do it in the most invisible way possible. Yeah, go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, I want to add on that about his way of connecting with his mom. Part of the reason he does that is because not only is she a writer, but I believe that she can't barely remembers her sons at all. Like, she mixes them up all the time. So I believe Turtle felt that if he could write and stand out by being a good writer, his mother would know him and maybe even remember his name.
Yeah. It's very normal to actually have somebody to actually want to really stand out. So the way that they really the way that Turtle really want to really stand out of so many siblings. I mean, of course Cora's gonna forget the names. There's too many of them, but yeah, he really wants to stand out, and he is a very unique character, but unfortunately sometimes there are things that really just hold us back that we cannot really expect. And then go ahead, after these two we'll move on to the next chapter.
Okay, yeah, onto the Coral thing. Yeah, she's not a good mom, like, at all. Oh my gosh, like, why bother remembering my 33 sons? It's not like they can inherit the throne. Call back to book 6. Gosh, she's a jerk.
Yeah, but again, yeah, you got, like, obsession. That's what it can really do to you. So when we do things out of passion. You don't really do things we have a reason to do them, but not in a very distorted and warped and like this, that it turns what you want to do into something you obsess in doing. And going to like drastic measures to really get to that point is, yeah, definitely quite awful.
Talking about the why Turtle wanted to stand out, I think this is also like, a callback to book 6, like when he just randomly joined, Jade Mountain. Like, who is this brother dragon that we never knew about? And then like that really like, is like a callback to like he's trying to, be noticed. He's trying to be unique. And when he regroups with his mom later in the book, she like says like, oh yeah, like I'll try to remember you now, because like he's the one who came to Jade Mountain with Anemone.
Yeah, so there are certain things that might make them stand out, and this is very unfair sometimes. Like competition's so high that you have to do so much to actually be recognized. I don't know. It just felt it's so stressful for everyone. Like, this is such a difficult thing, in my opinion, to really be able to stand out. But if you stand out, you're now in the spotlight. Is that really always good? So it's always sometimes something that you got to really weigh. Yeah. That essentially is what chapter 1 is really implying here. All the things being introduced, and cliffhanger broken now. So now we actually go into the story, the second era. And yeah, when we get to the next chapter, as Turtle flies back to Jade Mountain, clutching the enchanted stick, and really worrying about it, like he finds an enemy Pike, Tamarin, and like an injured Kinkajou near the underground lake. Like, at that point, Turtle really tries to warn enemy that Darkstalker is coming and that he is a dangerous individual, as we probably can already see. But Anemone is like thrilled by the idea of meeting another animus dragon, because she has not really met a lot before, and rather than fearing Darkstalkers, she's like drawn to him, like almost very attracted to like what he could do. And Turtle already immediately realizes this is a very huge red flag. That's probably not going to end well, and she's going to be subjected to Darkstalker's influence. You can definitely see things starting to really burn up here. It's going to be a problem. Yeah, go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Anemone is such a brat in Arc 2.
A lot of people seem to also think that, but at the same time, you can see where this, especially in Prologue, like the overprotectiveness, like not getting to interact with everybody, getting restrained all their life. They're kind of made to be this way, and they're so excited to really get to know somebody else that they can potentially be relatable to, that is also more confident about themselves compared to like how Turtle is acting. So I understand why she's acting this way, and it's very sad to see, and it makes you mad sometimes on how she acts, but at the same time, like, she's really made into this way. Can you really blame her? Like,
I do blame her because she's an authority figure and I understand it, but at the same time, she has the obligation to do better because she is an authority. She's a princess. She's an authority figure. She's an animus. She owes it to be better.
Well said. Exactly. I totally agree with that. So there's you can really tolerate until it becomes too much, and if you cross that barrier, then it's not gonna be what you really want to. It's not in the direction that you want to head. So at that point, it is definitely on them. It's their problem. So yeah, absolutely. No, go ahead.
Oh my god. Okay. I have so much to say.
Go ahead.
About this irritating, annoying little brat. Oh my gosh. More stuff happens later, so I'm just gonna keep it brief and to the point. Firstly, this doesn't match up with how she was in the second book. She was kind of, I think, a little more timid and nervous, if my memory's right. And then in the time span of 6 months, she becomes a brat. She's the worst.
Yeah, you'll be surprised at how much like dragons or like people change. Because when we get older, especially if we're like developing age, a 5-year-old and 6-year-old is very different. So you get in like the exponential phase of growing, so you will probably be able to see a lot of changes happening within like 6 months. I don't think this is entirely unreasonable. It might be inconsistent for some people, but I personally don't think this is really a huge problem. I can kind of see why, especially when that's like the puberty of like dragons at that point, where they're transitioning from like child to like adolescent and then to an adult. So they do that in like a span of a few years. They're already an adult by the age 7. So I mean, you can't expect a lot of changes between that. I mean, even us who like we are adults when we turn 18. I mean, there's still a lot of changes year after year. So you can definitely see how this kind of works, I guess.
Yeah, no, I can get that. That's just more my personal feelings on it. Like, I can definitely get it, though, and what they're trying to say, that people can change over time.
Yeah.
Like, if it was a year, I think I'd be a little more forgiving. But 6 months felt a bit too fast for me, because that's, like, going for, like a time of, like, a year for even. But I digress. What's the more bigger issue is how she is. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Brat. Again, keep it just to the point. Irritating, spoiled, aristocratic brat. God.
Yeah, there are some characters that are like not just. There are people that have these kind of personalities where they're so naive about everything because they have been growing up all restrained and all protected, and now when they get to see something that's different, they would like always think, "Oh, I really want to like get to do something different," and then they just dismiss everything else that's said. Like that is that's really such an ass move. But I mean, like if they're like conditioned to doing that, then what can you really do, right? So
yeah, but my gosh, her again, Anemone being spoiled causes a lot of conflicts in the story. Again, I don't want to jump too far ahead because I know we're only in the first couple of chapters, but as we see that she causes multiple conflicts in just this book.
Yeah. When you are like conditioned and like sort of growing into like such an environment, you unintentionally become so warped to the point where you cause a lot of impact. Sometimes just a small force can cause a domino effect, and then things just kept happening, and then you got dragged so deep into it that you actually unexpectedly cause a mayhem essentially, and you won't really be able to get out of it after that.
Very last thing, just want to say is that just because of how I feel about her, when I made a dragon tier list where me and some friends ranked characters, I put her in F tier. But and I'll just leave off of that.
Fair. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay.
So you were talking about like something about like force, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like I don't know, it just like comes back to like this quote I remember from Captain America: Civil War, and Vision said this. Our very strength invites challenge, challenge incites conflict, and conflict breeds catastrophe.
There we go. Yeah, that is right.
So yeah, with like, the strength of animus power comes the challenge of like, the challenge is, Anemone and Darkstalker, they both have strengths. And it brings conflicts. They have conflicts eventually with like power. Anemone has conflicts with Moon because like what's so special about this one? And then obviously that breeds catastrophe. So like, that scene where Anemone beats Moon with a broom.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. So yeah, see, it's like a chain of events, right? They're like all connected together, and then it just kept getting dragged further and further and further into it. So yeah, you can absolutely see how this can unfold as we go deeper into it. So absolutely, yeah, it's a tragedy, not gonna lie. Parker.
I really like the quote you just used. Because it describes very much how Anemone acts throughout the book, and especially during the beginning when she just like meets Darkstalker, which is the next chapter. So we'll get to that a little bit later, or we could use this to, move into it.
Yeah. We'll they continue to go into it, but yeah, definitely. Yeah, you made a very valid point there.
Because she like uses her power of animus magic to call down a storm and show off that she's the snotty, held back princess that is finally free and can show off her power.
Exactly. And when she's like, when there are not that many princesses around already, like you can already see how, oh yeah, I'm like quite superior, and I'm like so treasured by the entire SeaWing kingdom. And yeah, you can see how that kind of like makes her into like the character she really is. Yeah, absolutely. Very valid point. Okay, so now when we continue to go forward into like chapters 3 and 5, this is like the process of like Turtle trying to alert the school leadership and students. There are lots of chaos spread as dragons react to Darkstalker's return. Some it's quite split as well, very diverse. Some are frightened, some are curious, and some do not really fully understand the threat. Some of them are like very oblivious to what's actually happening. Turtle remains in the background, just really trying to warn others without revealing his own animus magic. Like, it really reinforces his role as someone who wants to help, but it really, really hates being seen. And Darkstalker's like later arrives at like Jade Mountain and begins like winning dragons over almost immediately with like charm, and apparently some helpful magic, but to a lesser extent, he's like the character is the thing that's really convincing them. Especially when like it's quite diverse on how they react, like the way that he is currently acting towards them seems like quite positive and quite well intended, so they are starting to get drawn in. And he presents himself not really as a monster, but really as a misunderstood dragon who really just friends and a second chance. Like many dragons are like that by it, and then they started being drawn over them, especially those who feel overlooked or powerful. Turtle sees how dangerous this is because Turtle can actually see through all of this as like a manipulative tactic. So yeah, Darkstalker does not need brute force when he can simply make others trust him. That's essentially how things go. And Darkstalker's when he arrives, begins to publicly solve problems and handing out gifts, like using magic in ways that seem very generous and harmless. So he helps restore Stone Mover and generally behaves like a miraculous savior. Like this put Moon in an increasingly uncomfortable position as well, because she wants to believe the best of him, but there are some warning signs that's actually radiating out of him. So Turtle meanwhile becomes more alarmed as like the schools start leaning towards admiration instead of caution. So you can see how all of this is like becoming like a huge manipulative tactic, and how he is very, very convincing despite things that has happened in the past. And now that time has diluted the things that he has done, then people will start the other dragons start to get drawn into him. Yeah, Okay, so what are your thoughts on this, Fythir?
My thoughts, I really think that most of it, especially with the NightWings, because the NightWings originally tried to attack him when he was, first arriving at the mountain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so on okay. On that note, sorry. Can you repeat what you said just now?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
I think that the arm magic used on the Nightwings was really the only way that he was able to actually gain the trust of like most of the people who knew the legends and were
Mhm.
absolutely terrified of him.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, essentially that is where you can see, oh yeah, like this sort of influential factors that he uses, actually in the past can really be, can be something that is like very very intimidating for most. But because time has diluted things that he did, and he's like a legend more than anything, and now he's here. More of them would probably try to see, actually, hang on, I don't even know who they are, so I might just really want to see what kind of dragon he actually is. And now he's really trying to explain himself through ways through thought. Actually, that seems like somebody we can trust. Yeah, very dangerous, not gonna lie, very calculative.
That was
Yeah.
his main trick, befriending everyone. I mean,
Yeah.
that wasn't like the legends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You only wish if he's actually that well intended. Okay, go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah. I just want to say, yeah, that Darkstalker's, again, I'm trying not to bring down his supernatural strengths, but I do just want to say that he is excellent as like a talker. Like he's very good. He's very good at being manipulative. Not even being like just manipulative, but like even also just being like twisting his words even that are honest, just so that he can use them to his effect, like his benefit.
Exactly. Yeah. Like the way that he talks, like even talking alone and really like showing those actions, like through very, very well organized and structured plans that's beyond imaginable. That really tells you like how, how much wisdom he actually has. And like, if in order to really really be able to like convince somebody that he's actually not capable, it's very difficult. He is very capable, and he actually probably is well intended in some and to some extent, but again, he has something massive going on. There's something fishy. It's like too good to be true sometimes. And you would get to actually see how, like, things are not going to really go the way that you thought would really go. And like Darkstalker is a very huge contrast as to how, like, the previous antagonist, Queen Scarlet, actually acts. He actually is a lot calmer, a lot charmer, and he actually appears as if he's not gonna really be a villain initially, but you would think this is too good to be true, so it's definitely something that's not right here. Yeah.
May I just? Sorry,
Oh yeah, go ahead. And then
yes,
yeah, go ahead.
I feel like something I forget when I think about Darkstalkers. I forget that even though he is 2,000 years old, because he was asleep for 2,000 years, he's basically like mentally the same age as like the main characters.
Yeah, 7.
Yeah, which I feel like I forget often when I think about him.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, at the age of 7, like that's pretty young in Dragon Age. It's like just a young adult. That in human stands probably around 18, 19 years old. So you can already see like how much he actually knows, and there's some background to him. I'm not gonna spoil it, but there's definitely some background to this character as to how they actually think and how they actually have gotten to be so polished out and so refined to the point where they're so influential. So you can definitely see that they have been through something. Yeah. Go ahead, Atlas.
Yeah, this really also relates to like the whole like out of time thing. Like Darkstalker had like a really really big Captain America moment there if you really think about it. Like it was like frozen in time, literally out of time from where he was
Exactly,
from.
yeah.
And Steve Rogers just remembers the war going on. He told him, like, the world told him, hey, we won the war, but we never told you what we lost. And Darkstalker also had to figure that out too. And what he lost was trust from his own tribe. Everybody in the world is now against him. And he found that out the moment he woke up and started reading the minds of everybody, even the Nightwings, I assume. So now he has to try to rewrite himself, and it just doesn't go the way he does. So he just enchants everybody to just think he's good, you know?
Yeah. That really also gives you like an insight on how like the way that you really try to convince people to really see whether you're actually capable of things that you have to deliver it. So action really speaks louder than words. And if you combine with like very persuasive speeches and you can show that you can actually walk your talk, then you become like a very, very influential figure. Yeah, that's really precisely what's actually happening. So yeah, very influential figure, and as you can see, the influence is like spreading exponentially. And in a school as well, like you would wonder why he chose that place, but it actually does make a lot of sense, because you know all the students and everyone would probably, if they are all convinced, and then the young dragonettes starts actually spreading all the news, and the adults will probably be convinced to some extent when that happens. Yeah. So going into like chapter 6, Darkstalker's attention turns strongly towards an enemy. Like, look, at that point you would see, oh yeah, things are starting to probably head in a direction now. He recognizes animus power and treats her as a special, powerful, and finally understood. Because, you know, that's a vulnerability. She was never fully understood. She was always restrained from doing the things that she likes to do, or she wants to do, and she is always overprotected, and she doesn't want that. She's sick of it, so she wants to find a way to actually get out of it. An enemy who has always been controlled by point and underestimated by others, like, responds eagerly. Of course she's going to take it in a heartbeat, because she has never been understood and recognized the way like how Darkstalker recognizes her. And at this point, he's probably like a popular and famous celebrity, like actually recognizing you. Of course, if you're like if there's something relatable between you and that sort of famous celebrity, then you're definitely gonna, there is a very huge chance that you probably would cave and actually definitely get convinced. So yeah, Darkstalker is essentially giving Anemone exactly the validation she has always wanted. So the connection became one of the central threads of the book. As you can see, this is where things actually start going haywire. And Turtle spends more time observing Darkstalker's growing over Jade Mountain. Like, it's growing so quick that some dragons begin openly admiring him and start selectively appealing to some that are like to their insecurities and ambitions. Like, Turtle at that point really realizes that Darkstalker is not merely powerful, but is psychological precise too. Like, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what each dragon wants to hear. Turtle's feud like deepens, understandably, because he understands that this is how good dragons get pulled in, because those that are really good intention can really be drawn in like this. Because, you know, if you're actually trusting and you're actually well intended, you won't really try to think of the worst possible outcome. So they want to focus on the good, and that is the point where sometimes these are vulnerability and expectations and, you know, hope really get used against you. So this is like a very, very manipulative and essentially very difficult place to really be in, to actually see everything turning like this. What do you guys think overall?
Darkstalker sus as hell. He uses magic. He just uses magic to make everyone love him.
At this point, it's not even that yet. Like, the magic that he's using is like reading them and really trying to understand the situation. I mean, imagine if this is actually used in a well-intended way. Like, if he keeps doing this and actually not trying to really get a master plan going to really brainwash everyone and make it his own kingdom and whatever, if he actually is well-intended, like, this would be really good. But again, that's why like magic falling onto like animus magic falling onto the wrong hands can cause catastrophic consequences.
Yeah. It's like this one quote I know from Captain America Civil War still. I believe I think Steve Rogers also said it too. It was like he says something about like the Sokovia Accords or whatever, like how the government in the MCU was trying to control the Avengers. It's pretty much like what Darkstalker's doing, but like to the whole world. He's trying to take control of everybody's mind and eventually like build up to like, okay, now everybody will have to worship me now. Like what you say about like this power being in their talons. Captain America said like the safest hands are still our own, but we can't let like anybody with this power, like control us. And agendas change or something.
Yeah, exactly. You really don't want. Really well quoted there, well said. And yeah, like I really like how you're like using different fictional series and trying to bridge and trying to imply certain things here. It's really, really good. Well said. And the thing about Darkstalker, as you already said, like the sort of like influence really building up is going to really make a very, very substantial impact. And like, the thing about really the scary thing here is the magic that he's using is not like it's not like very huge or like very deal-breaking magic to like get everybody to like his mind slave. He's actually using a tactic to actually gain their actual trust. So he's not actually using a lot of magic in that point. He's actually going in a way that he actually is trying to convince people just by like the actions and etc., by actually understanding them. So he has sympathy and try to empathize and sympathize them, but at the end of the day, this is not his actual intentions, at least not all of it. So yeah, there are some more sinister things behind. Go ahead, Fythir, if you want to share a point.
Yeah, him just sharing the power with the NightWings, like giving them each gift that give them a special and unique power, is like the way he used that to manipulate them to thinking, oh hey, he's a pretty good guy. He wants the best for all of us. He wants to be friends. He wants to just be a normal person.
He's making super soldiers.
Yeah. He's just manipulating them to become super soldiers.
Basically, yeah. Well said. Essentially, we're all pointing towards that direction. We're all agreeing so far, which is really nice. Yeah. Go ahead, Gabe.
I just want to mention that when I first read this book a few years ago, I also actually trusted Darkstalker, honestly. So I can definitely see how this was working.
Yeah. Definitely working very, very well.
It wasn't until later that when he started showing his true colors that I learned who the imposter was, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. I mean, these things can't really last forever if you're not really well intended and you're not actually doing it out of the good intention that you're trying to keep up. In the end, you will crack. Like there's really no way around it. You can't do that forever. And there are definitely hints to show eventually that you're probably going to reveal your true colors, because it's impossible, because you have a motive, you're trying to work towards that motive, and there will be things that are not really compatible with the good intentions that you're trying to mask yourself through. So usually these kind of manipulative tactics do eventually wear off, but it will take time. It will take a lot of time, and a lot of damages usually would have been done before you get to that.
So true. Like the more lies stack, the harder it is to keep them together.
Exactly. Precisely that. Yeah, it's so like you can already see like we're building up into something that is very, very probably like world changing at this point. Like you probably can't, you probably would start to imagine, oh shit, this is going to be catastrophic. Probably this is even worse than what you had before, because what you had before is like you already see, we have to work towards stopping them, and they're relatively predictable in some aspects, like because they always constantly trying to throw at you. You just don't know what they're throwing at you. But at this point, you really don't know what Darkstalker is planning ahead. You can see it's probably like Turtle, like these sort of insecure individuals will probably see, okay, something's definitely wrong. I'm not going to fall for this. And, actually the insecurities at the guild that he got and the insecurities actually made him more cautious. So in the good sense, he's actually not really falling for these manipulative tactics delivered by a Darkstalker. So as you can see, sometimes though, in every grey cloud, in every dark cloud, there's always a silver lining. So this is really some of the things you can get to see, like how tragedy and all the hardships that we've been through do eventually prepare us for certain massive issues that might have protected us instead of actually causing us problems. Yeah, and go ahead, Fythir.
Yeah, you can see it like when when Turtle was talking to Moon. I believe that's this chapter.
Yeah, that's right.
When Turtle talked to Moon and Moon was like hoping that Darkstalker would keep being kind and keep up the good attitude of trying to help everyone.
Yeah,
and you can see Turtle actually falling for it a bit and like also hoping that Darkstalker would be kind, and then he snaps out of it and realizes I'm also being tricked.
Yeah, because at this point
he saw it happen in like the beginning, like as soon as Darkstalker looked at him with the hatred.
Yeah,
and the fact that he looked like he was gonna like immediately just kill him.
That's what happens, like when you see somebody like kind of rebelling. You even like you just don't. A lot of them, if they're trying to be influential, really hates rebels. Like rebels are the ones that would probably really thwart their entire plan. So they really do not want everything to fall apart. So they're definitely gonna try to work twice as hard to actually bring those rebels down, so that they won't be rebellious and actually like another revolution that would probably disrupt everything that they're planning to do. But again, as you can see here, I mean, everyone really wants to believe that this is as well intended as they hoped. But at the same time, there are a lot of hints given that this is wrong, because like the amount of how things are spreading like a virus, really, there's really no stopping this. And if everyone's like obedient, then at that point, and influenced, then at that point you really don't have any defense against whatever he does, and then he's probably going to take over everything. That's probably what's been suggested here anyways. So yeah, you can see. Yeah, pretty sort of. Anything else you guys want to add before we move on?
No, not the moment.
Not for this chapter. I think we can continue.
Yeah, we can continue because the next one just links to this one very, very well. So yeah, as we continue to we're done with chapter 6, 7, and then now we're going on to like 8 to like 10 or 11. Yeah, good job for not falling for that meme.
The moon.
Resist the temptation.
Oh, you see, there's
well done for holding it back. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You can see something like this can be so influential. Like, what about Darkstalker, right? So, yeah. Okay, so Darkstalker begins like transforming the academy atmosphere by granting enchanted gifts and like alter abilities that he has been doing already. He especially plays on dragons who are like frustrated with their status or limitations. And yeah, Turtle sees how seductive how like seductive animus magic can be when it is offered as a shortcut to confidence, beauty, courage, and or significance, really. The school begins to feel less like a refuge and more like a testing ground for Darkstalker's influence. Like he's really trying to experiment how far he can actually take it before he has to probably stop. And Turtle becomes like convinced that simply hiding and hoping for the best will not work, because he starts considering how he might oppose Darkstalker despite the danger, very dangerous. Out of everyone that's agreeing with him, if you're like the only person who's like against somebody, then it's very difficult for you to really be the one that stands out. Yeah, the elephant in the room. At the same time, his old failure in the hatchery like keeps resurfacing in his mind, especially as he watches another vulnerable family member and enemy drawn towards harm. his internal conflict really sharpens. Like, he wants to disappear, but again, he also cannot bear to fail again. So he really is trying to really push himself out of it. But you can see the challenges there, and of course, like when we get away even further, like Darkstalker escalates from like charm to powerful plays. This is where it actually starts going in a direction where you can actually start seeing his intentions a little bit more clearly. He starts dealing more directly with queens and try politics, and despite like just being waken up from his slumber, he already became so involved to the point where he actually kind of runs over the government now, pushing the idea that Paria needs stronger, wiser leadership, with himself near like the center of it essentially. Like his rhetoric becomes more grandiose, I think. Turtle sees that this is no longer just about friendship or freedom after imprisonment. Like, Darkstalker is beginning to reshape the world according to his own vision. He really wants to ride the world. So you can probably see, yeah, this is where things is starting to actually kind of fall into place. He actually really wants the world to be agreeing with him, and that kind of tells you about his character. Go ahead, Atlas. What do you guys want to share?
So, when we were talking about when Darkstalker was, giving all the powers to NightWings, you can really like think like with NightWing's powers again, that could really change like the tides of, timelines and possibilities that could happen in the series. If we just come back to them, like what if those NightWings start another war or something with like those powers, like mind reading. I think I can't remember. Did like one of them ask for like animus magic themselves?
Yeah.
And then they get enchanted right away. Wish granted. Like, imagine that. Like,
I'm like,
oh my god.
Oh gosh, we have another one now. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, you can see how things are starting to become dangerous now.
Yes. Sorry, but I think if to that point, Darkstalker probably was like, I think that like, I think I know what you're talking about. Like someone said, "Oh, make me an animus," and he's like, "No, you can't do that." And Turtle's like, "No, that's a lie." Foreshadowing, but like Darkstalker doesn't want to share the spotlight with anyone.
No, you can see how he's applying everything around himself, not with everyone. Everyone else is surrounding him, guarding him from whatever that's going against him. So you can really see how this is going. Go ahead, Gabe.
Yeah, I also wanted to mention that someone, firstly, I'm sorry, are we around like the part 2 section where we're in the rainforest, or are we like before that?
We're just before that. So we're in chapters. We're talking about chapters 8 to 10.
Okay, got it. Because I don't remember if this happened in the rainforest or before, but when we're discussing like people getting powers, I remember one person got super strength, and another person got a really scary power where anything they draw comes to life. Was that then, or was this a little later?
Yeah, that was then. Anything they draw comes to just they can make it real. That's a really cool power, though.
Yeah.
The equivalent to a 3D printer.
Yeah.
Magic 3D printer.
Yeah. Fantasy 3D printer.
Yeah. So who wouldn't want a 3D printer, right?
We've already been like talking for like an hour, and my print's already like halfway done.
Right.
Yeah, so we're having so much fun. Not gonna lie, I love how we have different inputs, but we are adding on to each other's point, which is really good, rather than riding over each other and actually disagreeing on certain things. Fine if we have some contradicting thoughts, but so far we're adding on top of each other.
This is the best Socratic seminar.
Yeah.
I think the only disagreement I have so far is I think our opinions on an enemy. But I think we can agree to disagree.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very elementary, because we look into different aspects of it. Some of us look into like the more negative side. Some of us look into the more trying to understand her. But everything kind of falls in place still. So yeah, like so far very constructive, really good. And also I do want to talk just a little bit before you get into it, King Feraligatr, on chapter 9. You know, Turtle also recognizes his own role in this, because when he thinks about the spell he asked Anemone to cast on Kinkajou, that kind of worries him that he has probably helped push her further down a dangerous path, because it kind of tells he's like implying that, oh, actually you can use magic in like this sense and use it a little bit more confidently to do something good. But at the same time, that probably further pushes her to be more bold into using it, and that might be something that would be more vulnerable, because Darkstalker is trying to really encourage her, and especially when we go a little bit later down, they develop a bond, and he starts really encouraging her to use it in a more confident manner. And if you get too overconfident, then you start to really cause disruptions. Yeah. Go ahead, King Feraligatr.
I've heard like because I've seen like a few videos critical of Wings of Fire, and it's kind of how I got more critical of it. I've seen people bemoan like the treatment of Stone Mover is not very great, because he kind of like tries to like, he has his own way of dealing with stuff, and then people don't really respect that. And the poor guy just gets treated pretty poorly by Tui. I mean, he's not the best father, but like, yeah, book 5, this book,
not perfect by any means, yeah.
And then Sunny says she didn't even see him in the 6 months between arc 1 and 2. It's just, the guy's not treated very well.
Yeah, so there are some characters that are definitely being neglected, or probably not emphasized as much as they deserve to be. So
yeah, they definitely nerfed the Dragonets of Destiny in this arc.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They're trying to really. I think this is on purpose. Really, they're trying to Tui's trying to really steer away, actually trying to introduce something new and focus on like the Jade Winglets. So I think this is on purpose, actually.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
it's sad that Sunny doesn't get to do any Sunny things.
I have water.
Yeah, but I wish they could have gotten a little bit more, a little bit more appearances here, because I feel like they can continue to really be able to develop themselves, and I feel like it's a shame that you don't get a lot of that development really seen as much, because we're getting focus. We're really shifting the focus a lot, but maybe it's a bit too much, I would think. You probably, because you want some cohesion, and I feel like, again, like I said in the beginning, it's quite segmented. You got arc 1, arc 2, arc 3. I know different arcs focuses on different things, but I feel like some cohesion would be nice. Yeah, go ahead, Atlas.
I just realized that Turtle is older than Tsunami.
No, he's not.
Yep.
What?
Yeah,
no.
Wait, no.
Turtle's 5,
right?
Tsunami 7.
Oh.
Oh yeah. No. He's not. Oh, the
Yeah, Turtle's 5. According to the wiki, Turtle's 5, and of course,
you
like
mean Anemone.
And then he. Oh gosh.
He's older than Anemone for sure. Not Tsunami. Tsunami is definitely older.
Yeah,
Tsunami's
because like. Yeah, it's just because of the whole like time thing with like each character. So like Tsunami's thing was like way before. That makes sense now.
Yeah. And also, the thing is, when you look into like the characters of this arc, they're actually quite a bit younger than the characters back in arc 1. Arc 1, they're almost adults, they're young adults really, and here you're actually looking at some at children going into adolescence, so you can see the characters are actually probably not as mature, and you can see that from an Anemone, how she kind of acts, and then you can also see how Turtle is like really not very stable on not very confident, and understandably so. But again, like the other characters, like the Dragons of Destiny, they are a little bit more I would say they're a little bit more developed, even though, of course, everyone would struggle with the thoughts and like the challenges that they're facing, but you can see how they are a little bit more grounded compared to the characters here. Yeah. Okay. So, should we move on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So moving on, like when we go into like 11, this is where there are more interactions going on with Turtle rather than always being in the background. Sometimes it does make me think whether an enemy can maybe be like the protagonist of this book rather than Turtle, because I feel like Turtle has been in the background for a little bit too long, but that's just my opinion. So in chapter 11, essentially what's happening is Turtle and Qibli begin working together more closely. Like Qibli is one of the few dragons clever and suspicious enough to actively question Darkstalker's intentions, and he presses Turtle on whether more animus might actually help in this case. Turtle admits he can do more, but he's deeply afraid of what repeated would do to him. Yeah, understandably so. This chapter really makes Qibli a crucial counterweight. He does not have magic, but he does have the strategy. So he has like the wisdom and actually has like the soft skills to really be able to push through the submanipulative tactics and say, yeah, this is not right. And even though he's not like animus or like magical, he has the strategy that Prop Turtle is currently lacking. So the he is like trying to counterbalance Turtle and actually give him like structure to guide him through this. So yeah, absolutely. This is a very good turning point. Go ahead, Gabe.
I just want to say, big W to Qibli. He is definitely my favorite character of the main group in this arc. Actually being able to think through, seeing Darkstalker for who he really is.
Yeah.
You know, and pushing Turtle to do the right thing and be a spy.
Yeah, be a spy really in this case, and really going deep into like this sort of thing. Like that takes a lot of courage. Yeah, go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Qibli is actually
Fun.
Qibli is actually a character I don't really care for. Just because he's overly, I feel like he's shilled too much, and since him being in like book 10, book 10.
We don't talk about
I can't get too much into that, but like, you know, and he's also based off Tui's son to some degree, so of course, he gets shilled, and he can't be at fault for anything. It's not as bad in this book, but
it gets worse.
It gets pretty bad.
Qibli has, he can be mean and can be I mean, he's better in like the earlier books, but like,
but he has aura.
Dude,
no.
Dude, enough with the Qibli glade.
Yeah, but
Y'all know that Peril is the best character.
Yeah, so here you can see like this is the point where we actually have different thoughts about the characters, which is completely normal and valid. Like there are so many angles to look at the same character, really. So yeah, of course, yeah. But again, I think in this book though, like the way that he's being portrayed and really being put actually fits very well here, and I really think he actually does play a really good spot here. Because without that guidance, Turtle probably would not be able to really get a structured plan going himself. So this is really like the catalyst of him and like the guideline for him to really continue on. So, I mean, you can probably explore a cave without any directions, and you can probably still make your way out, but with a rope to really guide you through the entire cave, then you definitely would be able to get to your destination sooner. So definitely going to be better. As we continue going on, like an enemy like grows more reckless, like under Darkstalker's encouragement as well. Do you want to say something, Fythir?
Yeah, I wanted to say something about Turtle, but then I've forgotten already. Oops.
Oh no, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
What's it about Turtle's character developments that you want to talk about?
think it was about Turtle just going full Mission Impossible mode and spying on Darkstalker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, you can see how like when you get so into such close proximity, you're actually taking significant risks. So it becomes quite a bit of a challenge, and it takes a lot of courage to get there. And as challenging as it is, you know, Turtle actually does have it in him, and he still went ahead anyways. So you can actually see that he's actually quite brave inside, because he actually you can see his moral compass is really good, and he really wants to be able to get through this, and really to prevent everyone from falling into this in this hole any deeper. So yeah, he's very well intended, and he has the courage, but it's just being masked over all the tragedies he's been through. That's what experiences can really do to you. So
Yeah, so going back to the smarts of Qibli, I mean, this guy was like a pretty big deal, because after the whole, I'm skipping ahead, but like after like the whole plague on the Ice Wings, bro literally just like, all right, you already enchanted my earring, we'll use your thing to duplicate it and just send it to the entire Ice Wing so they can get cured. And it worked. Like, I literally thought like there's nothing that we can do. And I was like, after I read the next book, spoilers, yeah, like this guy's really smart.
Yeah, he does have like the strategic mind, and definitely have a very logical way of thinking through things. So it definitely does help a lot. And this is where he actually shines. I think that's what his character's intended to be, at least originally. So yeah, he does play a very crucial part in actually planning through all the things. He's like the more well-intended, but again charming and actually less knowledgeable version of a Darkstalker here. Like the way that he actually thinks about things are like very positive, and he has his cautions, but at the same time he doesn't want absolute power. So you can see how like things can really be can really be different when you're playing a different role, even though you actually probably might have the same emotional and logical intelligence as like probably the greatest threat of all time. Yeah. Anything more to add?
I think I'm good for now.
Nope.
What's actually going on here, you know, in terms of like character analysis so far, like you can actually see Turtle beginning to realize that staying invisible has consequences, and he can't really stay invisible any longer. Like Darkstalker, as well as Darkstalker, his methods like emotional recruitment. Now he studies in security and office identity repair. Like that's something that a lot of people really need. And personally, I would think I would need that too. I've been through so much.
But yeah, I mean, we mentioned this before, but like, this is around the time where Darkstalker makes this. I have my animus magic alert system, and it's gonna puts an enemy in danger later on as well.
Like, because now he's actually putting her like right at the very front, probably using it as his shield. So definitely she's going to be taking all the beating at this point. Like, I mean, you can definitely see how this is going to go. And you know, at the same time, Qibli here works as like the counter, as I said, because he really questions what feels emotionally convenient. Some of the things we probably have to figure out ourselves. If we keep like just getting all the guides like this, then you probably will become overly reliant on those that actually are trying to help you. So there are certain things that we have to overcome ourselves. We can't rely on everybody, but we can always take our suggestions and all the feedbacks to use it as a guideline to get better. So at this point, like, this question is totally valid, and I feel like this is where you actually start to think there will be probably some hope in overturning like this manipulative tactics, because there's still some very confident individuals. Yeah. As we move on, like chapter 12, like, you know, Anemone like grows a lot more reckless under Darkstalker's encouragement. It's quite quick how things really progress, and rather than being cautioned away from magic, she's emboldened to use it freely and emotionally. You know, Turtle actually at this point really sees her becoming harsher, prouder, and more impulsive. His protective instinct really intensifies, but so does his panic, because stopping her may really require totally exposing himself and using the powers he actually fears to use to begin with. So yeah. When we like get to chapter 12, there is a very conflicting moment for Turtle. Like, he either actually exposes himself, actually put a halt to it, while risking everything, or he actually stays silent and actually let things fall even deeper. So both of them carry significant risk, but again, at this point, probably bringing it to a halt would probably be better than letting it continue to boil even longer. So definitely not gonna be. It's not gonna be glamorous how things are gonna go. And also, he cares a lot about his sister. At this point, he would really want to put a hole into it because he really does not want his sister to be badly influenced like this. Yeah, go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Yeah, I'm reading. Like, I just took a look at something, and I see a turtle got a dark thought. Like, oh, if he can be the king, I could be the king as well. Because chapter 12 is like in the rainforest and stuff like that. And like Darkstalker does have a good point that male dragons should be able to have the throne. But yeah, and there's nothing inherently wrong with him trying to have it, but it's his methods. And honestly, I think they should move to a democratic system, just have a constitutional monarchy at most. But like, that's neither here nor there. But yeah, there's also a fanfic that Within, Without, and like the Prelude thing. It's writer Vezik, who I really like this fanfic. It's a book 10 rewrite, and it makes it so much better in my opinion. But like, part of like what the author in that one has done is made Turtle deal more with like the dark thoughts of animus, and like how like all that power can kind of get to your head. And you see it a little bit here, but I like how Vezik made it more pronounced, because Turtle's kind of lacking.
Kind of gives Turtle more spotlight in that case, rather than making him like trying to make the background character a protagonist. That it gives me that feeling, when I'm like reading through this book. It's I can see like the kind of things that it's trying to be hinted, but at the same time, I feel like in certain points, a little bit more emphasis on his decision. But yeah, I digress. Okay, so yeah, go ahead, Fythir.
Yeah, I wanted to continue talking about the idea for only the monarchies, because there was a quick spoiler warning. This is a spoiler. In, I believe it was late book 15, it was shown that the Silk Wings and Leaf Wings did turn to a democracy, and it was pretty effective. So it is proven that it doesn't have to be matriarchy. I think that's the correct word.
It would be a matriarchal monarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's like in the synopsis, but don't go beyond that. But yeah, essentially, you can see like there's so many different ways to people really to get to really get that power in their hands. There's so many power hungry individuals for some reason, and the greed is just absolutely building up, as you can see in this book series at least. So yeah, definitely you can feel all of that stuff. You can definitely feel all that manipulative tactics and how many ways you can express it. It's just scary to even think about it. And yeah, okay. So when we like continue, Turtle really reflects more explicitly on his childhood. When we get to like chapter 13 on his childhood failure and how it shaped him into a dragon who hides instead of acts. Like, these memories are not like fillers, like they are the emotional backbone of like the novel itself, like the whole book. He understands that he's once again facing a moment where doing nothing could really cost lives. Like, this is the point where this chapter really pushes him closer to accepting that invisibility is no longer enough, and at certain points he really has to step out and really be the one to step out and talk, because if he doesn't do it, nobody would.
I want to say that I agree with you, and although I have some gripes with this book, this is one thing I think that's good. That really setting up Turtle's mindset is a very strong part of this. How he's not like, your ideal protagonist. Yet, that's the role he has to take. And, he does the best he can.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's admirable.
He's not perfect by any means, but at the same time, that like getting into that position is very hard, and it's really good to see how like a non-ideal character actually develops into one that actually would be able to take on responsibility. And watching that sort of character development is really nice and satisfying, because it actually tells you that even somebody who actually you think not have any sort of capabilities in them to really take on a role like this, but really driven by like their motivation to really care about others, that they actually manages to pull it off. So seeing this sort of development actually tells you a lot. So no matter who you are and no matter in what situations, you can always make a change if you really want to.
Like, doing the right thing. I don't know. I just keep on coming back to Marvel, guys. You guys are gonna be getting a bunch of Marvel quotes.
They're popular for you.
Yeah, they're really, really good if you really think about it. Just go rewatch the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Banger. But so talking about like, doing the right thing, and there's like nobody else doing it. It's like that one quote in Captain America: Winter Soldier, where like the Project Insight helicarriers, Hydra's helicarriers, are about to like destroy the world to get control, and the hands are only left to Steve Rogers. That's kind of the situation with Turtle, that he has to do this no matter what. And if there's nobody, it's a huge price. Like, the price of freedom is high, but it's the price I'm willing to take. That's what Steve Rogers said, and that's the equivalent of like what Qibli and Turtle are doing.
Yeah. And sometimes, like, I'll quote Star Wars now: "Do or do not, there is no try."
Good Yoda quote.
Yes.
Yes, it goes a long way, because you either really do it, you have to be decisive. Either you do it, or you don't, and you have to weigh whether really doing it is good, or whether actually abstaining would be a good choice. But there is no trying. If you're stuck in between, you can't make the decision. And at that point, you'll probably risk actually disrupting and actually ruining everything if you actually decide to be stuck in between. So this is the point where you actually got to make a binary decision rather than trying to find a gray area where you can sit in. That is a very difficult thing for Turtle to really do, because he has been used to not appearing and really just sit in the gray area. But now he actually probably has to make a binary choice, actually saying, yeah, I'm coming out, I got to really say this is not fine, and I need to confront my sister. Yes, Gabe.
One other thing I want to mention about this is how is the way Turtle at least thinks about his role as a hero. He actually thinks about it in the perspective of like character roles in the stories he reads. Like, at first he thinks about how he's got to be this big hero, I believe, but later he realizes that he's a side character. At least that's how he sees himself. And then he later sees himself as the spy who's going to end up getting captured and bad things are going to happen, which gets him really nervous. And
Definitely. Yeah. This is a huge risk to take, right? If he doesn't do anything, everything would be falling with him. And I want to actually make this as well. We're going to be covering a movie in the future, probably in season 2, episode 6, Project Hail Mary. Again, like, you got to really, even if you're not really up for it, sometimes you really got to make the decision to really make an impact, because for the greater good, essentially. And you, it is either that you stay with everybody else and actually let everything tumbles down in after a short period of time, or you actually go ahead and sacrifice yourself, or actually risk everything to really look for the much better alternative, rather than everyone being screwed over. So that is the thing that is very different, and that choice is hard because you might be risking to lose everything yourself. But now there isn't really a choice where you can actually have time to think anymore. So you got to actually act quick as well, which is going to be very difficult for anybody, not just Turtle, but especially Turtle in this case, because Turtle is doesn't want to make these choices, and how he's put in this position is always right. The world really pushes you to limits. Yeah, go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Turns out it's like one of the few royals in this series who was raised royalty and did not turn out to be some mentally screwed up person at any point in his, like, I mean, yeah, he's depression, but he's not like a bad guy. Like other, like, Glory's fine, but and yeah, she's blood royalty, but like, okay, she didn't grow up that way. Same with Tsunami, but like Turtle, like, there's so many evil royals in this thing, and Turtle turned out decently. It's just, yeah, you know, gotta give the guy props for that, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. So he has it in him, as you can see here. I mean, it's very difficult to do. Some people would probably give up. And some, definitely a lot of dragons would probably not be able to pull this off, and some definitely would be doing the opposite, of really fighting against what Turtle's doing. But Turtle really stood by and really did it, so he has it in him. It's just that he needs that bit of motivation and really the encouragement, the guidance to really get him going.
I just have to point out that all the female Dragonites of Destiny are all loyal now.
Yeah, that is right.
Every Sunny recently just became royal, you know, because her mother is queen.
So Sunny royal, Tsunami was a princess, Glory is blood royalty, and then became one of the queen. Yeah.
Just had to throw that out, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it took a while, but eventually we get there.
Unfortunately, the guys did not get the best. Starflight got blind. I don't think his blindness ever did anything good for him, and Clay has.
Oh my god! Like,
dude, they did
changing injuries. Yeah.
Yeah. Why do they?
Okay, so I have a question. I'm not sure when's a good time to bring this up, but it's one of my main. I want to ask if I could bring up one of my main gripes with this book.
Yeah.
And it is about the lack of. How did I phrase? Actually, I phrased a certain way. The lack of direct stakes for Turtle. I'm not sure there's a good time to discuss it now, if it's better to discuss it later at the end. But this is like one of the things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I read it.
Yeah, just go ahead.
All right. If I'll do it now. So, although this gives us some interesting moments, and overall, I feel the fact that Turtle playing spy and being hidden, I know, like, it probably works better if you read them as a group. But reading the book on its own, it kind of it made the story have less stakes, because even though Darkstalker is scary, he's doing stuff, Turtle is not in direct short-term danger until, like, later, until at the end, and, we'll get to when we get there. But until that happens, he's just watching, and we're just watching with him, and we're just seeing stuff kind of just happen. At least in my opinion, that kind of just, it doesn't make it as interesting to read. Like, I think if there was a double, that would have been interesting. But again, because of the spell, Turtle's just chilling. Yeah, he's nervous, but he can just listen in, and he's fine.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in here for a sec. I think one of the best ways to describe what this book is Turtle does almost nothing for half the book, and then the other half of the book he's watching or providing minor assistance.
Exactly. And, like, feels like a side character role almost, which I feel bad saying that, but, like, that's what it feels like. I feel like if anything, like, Anemone kind of feels like more like a protagonist, because she's...
See? That's the point I was making.
Yeah, because she's directly engaged with Darkstalker. Again,
No.
Yeah.
You've got a point.
I feel like you want to say something, so I'll stop. But I'll keep going when you're done.
Yeah, I can probably get it. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, Anemone is definitely the protagonist of this book, no matter how you put it. But yeah, you guys are right. I like Turtle, but like, because he's relatable to me. But yeah, he doesn't shine too well in this. own book, and I think I heard that like Tui wrote this after like a writer's block or something. She was. That might explain some. I don't know.
And the pacing of this book, look at where we are now.
Yeah.
And we are 2 hours into like, this is gonna be fun. This is gonna be the longest one. Okay, we broke the record of escaping Peril now. We're at 2 hours.
Do we need to speed things up?
Yeah.
No, we can take our time because this book actually does have a lot of things to really pick on and talk about. If you guys have time, then we can keep going. But
Yeah, I
don't
would
really
say this
Yes.
would be like the more serious part of arc 2, where like things start to get like more dangerous.
Yeah. Definitely. You can actually see. I don't know. There's one point I wanted to add regarding Anemone. I actually think, I don't know whether to actually put her as like the dual attack or the secondary antagonist.
It's definitely more of like a, what is it called? Anti-hero? Like, yeah.
Oh, she's definitely a villain in this.
Anti-villain,
No.
no?
If I may, actually, wait, let me do my exclamation point. Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Not necessarily, just go ahead.
Sorry.
Can I go? Yes.
Afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah.
In my opinion, an enemy is a secondary villain in this book. I think it would probably be able to describe her as an anti-hero for this arc, but in this book, what she's doing, no good, bad guy, bad girl, a bad lady, I guess.
I have a
Antagonist.
joke for this. Instead of anemone, an enemy.
You're just
Amazing.
quoting books.
Anemone? No, more like an enemy.
Yeah. That's like one of the few things I remember
An
from
enemy.
arc 1 clearly. That line. But that is a really good line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gabe be like, can I go? Yes.
Sorry.
Speak for yourself. Smile and wave,
Just
boys.
smile and wave.
Yeah. Okay. Alice, share your thoughts.
Later books, like after Darkstalker's gone, she learns from it. Yeah, she'll probably learn from mistakes, but he'll still be known for being bad, just like Darkstalker.
Mm-hmm.
But try to rewrite herself in a good way, and actually pays off, unlike Darkstalker.
Yeah. So she really wants to make him proud as well. Like, at this point, he might actually be more of like the family figure now, because he like a mentor, because he's actually guiding her through. He actually is training her to use her magic and actually be able to control her animus powers. But the way that he's doing it is actually making her for war, as I can see here. So building her for war. Yeah, probably not. He probably shouldn't be doing this. But but yeah, it is what it is, and she's being built that way. But at the same time, I mean, if she was guided in the right direction, I think she would have probably been a really good character here. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just quoting that one thing we were talking about.
Oh, right. Yeah, Gabe, when you was like speaking already, and then you asked whether you can go to the next one. Of course, yeah.
I felt bad
but yeah.
interrupting. I'm sorry.
Adult.
No, don't apologize. Why are you apologizing? No, don't worry about it. All good, yeah. But
Gentlemen's
yeah, at this
agreement.
point, yeah. So when we like move on a little bit, to like chapter 14, Darkstalker's influence spreads beyond like just Jade Mountain now, and his political ambitions becomes very clear. Like, he starts advancing major plans involving like the NightWing's legitimacy, leadership, and future of tribes. He visited like rainforests and even went back to like the ruins of like the NightWing Kingdom. He's like no longer just gathering at Maras, but really building up momentum now. Like, things are going very quickly, and Turtle realizes that this is becoming a whole pariah crisis, not merely a school problem. Like, this is spreading very quickly, like almost like the coronavirus that spread like in the span of like 2 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And go ahead, Fythir.
Okay, yeah. It's like when he visits the old Night Kingdom, he's like preparing to go off to a all-out war with the Ice Wings. I believe that's when he casted the spell, like when he first got to the old Night Kingdom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We already know that like there is something that he's really building up for, and you really do wonder, like at this point, if you haven't read like Legends, what he's actually building up to. So yeah, and go ahead, King Feraligatr.
Okay, like two things. First of all, like we haven't gone to this point, like, but like Gloria's gonna show a little bit of like even the mind control spell isn't working, doesn't have perfect effects, doesn't really go anywhere, but like Qibli had it, so he could question it. Turtle doesn't seem affected for some reason. This is around the point where like it's revealed that Turtle has a crush on a Kinkajou, which comes out of freaking nowhere. I do not like how Tui has so many random ships for her characters that are just so. In my opinion, most of the ships in this series are poorly written. Fathom and Indigo from Darkstalker is the best written one. Arc 3 is a tiny bit better at them being better written, but then I think that Arc 4 kind of just goes back.
The Kinkajou turtle ship like comes out of nowhere. Just like, when did that begin to happen? What was it like? What? Yeah, like book 1, you can like see it a little bit, but like the ships in this series are sometimes 0 sense whatsoever.
I mean, it is a little complicated because, like, Peril in Turtle is also a thing, but Peril in Clay is a thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, the ship's kind of like up here. It's sometimes I feel like it might be a bit forced, but that's just double.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very.
Made the force be.
It's trying to get some relationships in. There is a much more there's a much more natural way to really get into it, but sometimes we miss opportunities because we got too much stuff, and then we probably have like a block. So as I said, that might be the reason why. But again, there is still a lot of character development. I think this book does have quite a lot of detail to get into. This is actually one of the ones that actually explores about really explores about the characters' inner thoughts and all the things that has to be done, and really does take its time on those things compared to the other books that are like more fast-paced. This is very slow in comparison. Yeah, I mean, even when we get to like chapter 15, it's just like a second scene where Anemone like uses magic in increasingly dangerous ways, like as we predicted already, right? Including spells motivated by anger and jealousy. So like Turtle is like very horrified by like how naturally Darkstalker has encouraged her to treat animus magic as a tool for revenge or control. Like, yeah, this is absolutely the point where you can see, yeah, this is taken too far. This is the definite point to prove it. And this is one of the novel's like biggest thematic warning signs. Like, Darkstalker does not have to come out evil directly. He just normalizes it on one reasonable spell at a time. So he just does it one reasonable thing and trying to convince it one at a time, and he tries to normalize it and say, yeah, this is going to be the new norm now. He's reshaping everything. He's not just like trying to be influential. He's reshaping everything now. So that's really critical. Okay, go ahead, King Feraligatr. Yeah, that's so messed up. Yeah, very, very messed up. Yeah, that is the point when you can actually see. Yeah, this is starting to the sort of warped character developments where things like really is getting there. Yeah, Fythir.
Like this.
Yeah, see, that's like the things that we don't really fully understand about animus. Like there are certain inconsistencies and a couple of things where they're not really told very effectively, that essentially makes it quite a mystery on how it actually works out. But yeah, I get your point, and I feel like it's probably like a slow deterioration. I think that's probably it, but I cannot know for certain. I'm just really guessing now on how it actually works. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at this point, you can already see like Animus' use of magic becomes like more emotionally charged and dangerous. I mean, we always got to like act on diplomacy, and really acts in a way that is logical and moral. But if you are like emotionally driven, you usually would go into like you use it in like ways that are just not being unforeseen.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. It was like one of the, just like, I'm pretty sure there was like no setup whatsoever.
And
Minus
also-
setup.
Got it. Okay, thank you. Also,
Mhm.
I now have no regrets for putting an enemy in F tier. My tier list. All right.
Yeah,
Removed.
All right, that's all.
deserved F tier.
I mean, like if you're like just looking at like the standalone book, maybe you can you will be able to like overlook it. But when we're looking, if we're like just currently just going through the entire thing itself, then going through an entire series, then you would see, okay, these things just appeared out of nowhere. I think there would be a more natural way to introduce it, but yeah, it is what. Yeah, there are imperfections. I kind of come to terms with it, but yeah, I know it kind of triggers my nerves too. So I understand how you feel, Gabe. How everyone else feels, but yeah, I also do understand where you're coming from, Gabe. So yeah. And here, that's the thing where I want to say is that like if you have like some sort of internal fears, that is like probably where you don't want to lose anything, or you might want to continue keeping certain things there. If you have fear, as Yoda once said, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. So, like, essentially, if you really act emotionally, then that is the path you're really taking. So you always got to you got to be empathetic, and you got to have emotion. You got to have like emotional considerations. But again, while being flexible, you also got to need to also be you also need to be more on the definitive side. So you want to actually work on being logical as well. So yeah, okay. Do anyone else wants to add on to this?
Minor spoilers. Since book 17's protagonist is confirmed Kinkajou, I'm wondering if Tui's going to is going to mention any of this in book 17.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the opportunity to where all the loose ends can be tied together. Oh, when we get like a little bit further down, then we have like Turtle, Qibli, and Kinkajou's this side of the resistance begins to really take clear shape. Kinkajou now has waken up in chapter 16, becomes an important bright force against Darkstalker's glamour because she's emotionally direct and harder to manipulate in the same way. Yeah, you can see some people are direct and very clear about their thoughts. Kinkajou is a very direct dragon, so that's why she thinks like that. Turtle also starts seeing that friendship can be a form of courage. Like, he's not just fighting Darkstalker alone anymore, even if he still feels like the weakest dragon in the room. But he's actually surrounded with everyone else, and he actually does play a spot.
I just want to say something else important is that when Kinkajou is woken up by an enemy spell, she releases a spell at the same time to make her immune to Darkstalker's spells, which it's more cool and comes in handy later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. So these things are like the foreshadowing of the book, really. It's laying the groundwork, as you can see. Yeah. So when we get like to like the interesting things about here is that Kinkajou is like a surprisingly important force to like the anti-Darkstalker side. like you probably wouldn't have thought about it, but like when she awakens, then you can actually see the emotional clarity that she has, and the warmth. So that's like the contrast of like the mystique of fear that Darkstalker is bringing, like the coldness, like the sort of you can actually sense like this is going in a direction where, even though he seems well intended, like this is getting to a point where you actually see he's actually wanting absolute dominance. So that's like something that is like a contrast opposed to that.
Yeah, so it's like when all hope is like getting lost, you need like someone, to back you up, like a partner who will help you, complete your mission, because you can't do it, so you need help. And that's like the equivalent. So it's like Sam Wilson, Falcon, and Captain America, but it's Kinkajou for Turtle.
Mm-hmm. Yes. It's basic, very similar. Yeah, now that you said it, yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I'm not sure if it's just me, but does anyone else sometimes, occasionally, just like think of Kinkajou and Snake being similar in their actions?
Kinkajou and Snape.
Snake, Metal Gear Solid.
That one. What do you guys think?
I haven't played Metal Gear, so
Me neither. Can you tell us about Snake then?
I was like mostly thinking in the sense of, because Kinkajou kind of feels like the main hero for the last part of the book, and like, stuff. But
Potentially, but yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't played it, so I'm not very sure. But yeah, for those that knows the reference, maybe you guys will know. Audience panel, give us some comments if you want to. Okay, so now if we go on to if we keep going, like this is where I think Gabe has a lot to say about it. The plot really shifts towards like the search for the lost city of the night in chapter 17, tying directly into a prophecy itself. Darkstalker really wants the NightWings to be restored and has symbolic power, but the others know that whatever he wants from it will likely serve his larger dominance of events. The journey outward sharpens the division between dragons enchanted by his charisma and dragons increasingly frightened by what he presents. So you see that there's starting to be a split now, because his intentions, he's speeding things up. I think the way that he's actually doing it, because I think he's probably not a very patient dragon, so he just keeps going. And this is probably starting to really distort his plan going forward. So yeah, it's starting to really, you can actually see what's actually happening. And when we keep moving on, like as the search really progresses, like Darkstalker reveals more of his long memory, his grief, and his sense of destiny, like trying to really give a backstory and try to see whether people would empathize and sympathize. And these moments really make him more compelling. Not any less dangerous at all, of course. And Turtle sees why dragons really follow him, because there is pain and sincerity in him alongside the manipulation. So manipulation is not the only thing that makes it way more complicated, and the book really refuses to make it simple in this case. And the complexity is exactly what makes him really frightening. Yeah, we are on chapters 17 and 18. Yes, and go Alligator.
yeah, we're around there, Fythir, and I wanted to kind of talk, like, okay, Darkstalker, yeah, he has his little sad moment, like, fair, but at the same time, he's also calling his new followers slaves and soldiers, which just shows that he's just scum at the end. Yeah, he has some sympathetic moments, but at the very end of the day, he's just a bad guy and scum. It's
it is a tragedy though. I mean, not to spoil, but again, like you can probably see some background, because he doesn't meant all bad, but he actually is building something that he really, really wants. So he's very desperate to really have the power and change. Maybe it might not be like absolutely the worst thing you ever see, but definitely it's probably going to be quite brutal, and we probably won't like that. But you see, like, he's not all bad intended, but yeah, he is doing a lot of things in a very, very which is a messed up way. Go ahead, Gabe, and afterwards Atlas.
So You know, the scene like where
Yeah.
or no, like sorry, Darkstalker goes into like the ruins. He like finds like an old picture of Clearsight, and if you really think about it, there's like another character arc growing for Darkstalker, the longing for the past. Like he truly misses like everything that he lost that was taken away because of the actions that he's done, and like when he dusts the dust away from Clearsight's portrait, you can really like feel that sense of like sadness of everything that he lost, and now he's just trying to fix his world.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He felt like he wants to fix everything. He's very desperate to do it, but, you know, in a very messed up and very distorted way. But, you know, his intention's probably not as bad as we thought. He's not a pure evil villain. He's like a very broken one, as you can see here. It starts in that he has a history where he's probably been through a lot of unfairness as well, and that warps his entire worldview, and now he wants to reshape it to accommodate his view, so he can see how things are going. Very selfish, and of course very, very wrong, but it kind of, you can kind of understand it to some extent. Go ahead, Fythir.
Yeah, I think the thing about Clearsight, because it's also about this time when he turns, what was the other dragon?
Dragon.
Yeah, the dragon he turns into Clearsight. What was her name?
That's next book.
Yeah,
I think.
that's next. So let's not get into that.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. That was what I was going to talk about.
I mean, we didn't get too far, so don't worry. But yeah, that's okay. And also, we are like getting very close to the end anyway, so we are getting there.
Yeah, I just remembered it.
Yeah, my father watching told me that I got that food's gonna be ready for dinner soon, so I gotta wrap up.
Yeah,
Roast and gum is dinner.
we're almost there, so yeah, you can make a lot
Getting
of
close,
things.
yeah.
This is a lot of things. I know you're very familiar with this part. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so you
17?
17
What
and
did we
8,
pass that?
we're almost on to 19 now, but yeah, wrap up the character analysis. You know, Darkstalker, he has affection in strict conditions. He wants admiration, obedience, not equal relationships, but at the same time, you can see his sincerity to really try to make things better, but it probably won't get better because of how distorted he really is. And Anemone, like she is now very dangerous, and there is a spark between Anemone and Turtle at this point, not just because she is powerful, but because she believes power excuses her impulses. So she does everything within power to compensate for it, and actually thinks, if I do this, then everything will be fine. And yeah, Turtle's horror is actually coming into shape, seeing how close Anemone is to becoming another albatross. If we look back into the character, not good. This is where things are really, really falling apart for Anemone. Gabe, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I don't want to mention that yet again. Never an enemy W, forcing an enemy to clean her room, and then when she didn't, she smacked her hard with a broom.
Yeah.
Moon. Oh my god. Moon. Sorry.
Moon, yeah.
Yes, Moon. Yeah.
Watch
And again. Yeah, I just want to say that, yeah, there are definitely concerns that an enemy could get a little haywire. So yeah, Turtle's got to be making sure that doesn't happen.
Yeah, King
Yeah, and
Feraligatr,
then
go
he abuses, and then she's such a brat. She's abusing Moon, and then that's like one of the few dragons that Darkstalker actually gives a damn about. And then and then he gets tired of her, and then he's gonna eventually send him away. But it is kind of odd that like Moon, because we'll learn something in book 10, but like she's still going along with Darkstalker, even though early in the book, she was crying and mad at him for being a genocidal maniac back in his early.
Yeah, it's very sad. It's not really fair for her. Like she was she was manipulated first by Darkstalker, and the way that she has actually allowed him to really be free and make such an impact really does give her a lot of guilt. I mean, this kind of guilt will probably be even more severe than what Turtle has endured, and probably would be quite traumatizing. I can assume. I would assume.
You don't make
definitely.
it 2 feet for after hitting Moon and then getting no consequences.
Yeah.
Exactly. Look, it's quite terrible. Not gonna lie, this part. Yeah, quite sad. And then, yeah, at this point, like, you know, the other chapters really just ties into like the continuity of this a lot, because, you know, the pacing is getting slower for some reason rather than getting quicker. Okay, but yeah, we can go through like all the final chapters together. Should we just grab them?
Yeah, rapid
sure.
fire round.
Sure. Are you gonna lead with this one, or do you want me to say some stuff? Because I did some close reading on these chapters.
Yeah, go ahead if you want to. Yes.
Okay, so are we gonna go from chapter 19?
Yes, that's right.
All right. Chapter 19. So this is when. No, so. Oh, I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, chapters 19. So this.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Turtle rushes to follow an enemy. Again, super far. It shows, I think, and during this long travel, we get we see that Turtle, again, thinks unconfidently of himself. And 2, we get a flashback and get some lore. And we learn that an enemy was not born with her powers, but she got them from Turtle, who used a spell to give them to her so that people would not notice he had spells, because all the dragonettes had to do this ceremony to test if they had powers.
Yeah,
Insert the Spider-Man spot meme. I've created you. You created me.
Yeah.
Also, Jump Spear from Whirlpool. God, it was scary seeing that guy again.
I don't think I remember seeing that in the graphic novel.
Whirlpool jump scare.
Yeah. The other character I defined as F tier in my dragon tier list from Wings of Fire.
Oh wait, did we forget about the scene where he met up with Queen Coral?
Yes.
Atticus.
Yeah.
We need to get a Whirlpool jump scare thing. Just animate it into the thing. Yeah. Yeah. As soon as we mention the name. Just as soon as we mention his name.
Right. Yeah. And one thing I do want to add is that, you know, Darkstalker himself is so distorted to the point that he actually imagines restoration greatness and justified control. But, you know, that's not what everyone else thinks. Turtle others all see coercion, ego, and the beginning of tyranny. Like, this is the thing. And this is like the point where you can see like Turtle is like repeatedly forced to ask like what responsible animus magic would even look like if such a thing is even possible. And the city really becomes a literal destination and symbol of battleground of the future. Like, you can see how this can really play out very uglily, even if you haven't been into the other books yet. So this is.
I still need to speak.
Yeah. Go ahead. I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, an enemy. It's really quite the creation of Turtle's thing. But if he didn't want to call attention to himself for being an animus, why didn't he just like not? Like, he just says the thing, but he doesn't actually channel his power for the thing, instead of like making an.
Well, he wants some leverage. He wants a shield rather than being directly involved, because if he becomes very involved, that becomes too obvious. So he wants to make it less direct. I can kind of see why that's the case.
But I mean, he could just fake it. But yeah, then again, everyone. But then he fakes it, and then no one is any the wiser. I mean, did any animus dragonet not think to just lie through it? They didn't want to be found out. I don't know. It's just a minor little thing, I guess.
I got you. I understand. Yeah, and go ahead, Gabe. Before we move on to the final feature.
Okay, got it. I just want to say that I feel that this happened because Turtle was kind of panicking at the moment, so he didn't really have time to think of the best solution. and that's why he did what he did in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's fair, I guess.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
you have to think of the most immediate solution that would be effective.
Yeah, precisely that. And all these things we are looking as an audience inside a very, very fast-paced sort of scenario. So he gets to come up with things right on the spot. So it's not always very easy. It's quite difficult, and sometimes some decisions are not as ideal. So it happens. It's very normal. But I think in the current position, I think he's doing well. I think he's doing well, very well. So yeah. Okay, so now we go into the last 3 chapters, which literally ties together. So in the last 3 chapters, essentially, Turtle and Enemy come up into sharper conflict, as we have already predicted, really. Turtle tries to pull her back from the influence that Darkseid is inflicting on her, but she sees him as weak, fearful, and frustratingly passive. So their sibling relationship become one of the book's strongest emotional threats. Turtle loves her fiercely, but he cannot protect her by really staying the dragon she is used to ignore. So he has to become visible at this point, and it actually does kind of show, because Darkstalker really eventually gets to identify Turtle's hidden role, because things start to really crack and he's getting more visible. He has to. So the concealment that protected Turtle for most of the story really is going to collapse at this point. And Darkstalker recognizes that there has been a secret opponent moving around him, and Turtle can no longer rely on hiding as his primary defense. This is the moment where Turtle's old strategy to falls, and the story forces him into open confrontation. And this also is where, Turtle really has to make a stand, become visible, and really confronts it. Instead of becoming like a flashy hero in the traditional sense, he acts as the most Turtle way possible, if that's how we'll put it. Careful, terrified, morally conflicted, but determined to protect Elvis anyways. He works with his to resist Darkseid and to limit the damage Darkstalker and Anemone can do. This climax is not just about overpowering Darkstalker, right? It's about Turtle finally refusing to disappear when it actually matters most. So he's actually going into the moment. He always has it in him, as I said. Yeah. And go ahead, following the order. So Fythir, Gabe, and then King Feraligatr.
Yeah, I think this part of the book, the most important part of it, was the animus fight between him and Anemone, because otherwise he wouldn't have been discovered, and otherwise Anemone would have killed Oral and taken the throne, because she was being manipulated by Darkstalker.
Yeah. No, clearly, very clearly, yeah. Gabe.
All right. I have a few points to say about these final couple chapters. Point 1, this is when we learn why Anemone is a brat. And I believe the way it goes that she basically feels that she is forced to be in this role. That just because of how everyone expects that she has to act like a brat, and that there's nothing she can do about it, that she is destined to just kill her own mom.
Yeah, because
what?
Sort of, yeah.
You know what? And then that's not enough. I'm not accepting that apology. That's not enough. You gotta do more. I mean, it doesn't work as like a redemption. I feel like, at least in this book. Hopefully, there's more in book 10, but I'll have to see that for myself.
Yeah.
Second thing I want to mention is that this fight is. I really like this part. I think it's very creative how they battle each other on the beach with magic. I think it's interesting. Third, one last thing I want to mention is how Turtle goes out of his way to not violently, lethally attack an enemy, and when they get sucked away to Darkstalker, he actually hugs her.
Yeah,
showing that he's a good guy.
Exactly. So he is a good guy. He's very well intended. So that's what happens when you're actually not trying to be manipulative, and it's actually wholeheartedly trying to be the best person you can be, and it actually does show. Go ahead, King Feraligatr.
All right, multiple things. Does anyone think that Coral liking Turtle is more out of pragmatism? Like, ooh, I got another animus. I mean, she does better herself a little bit later in the series, but do you think that the fact that she pays attention to her son is also oh, he has animus. Because,
Yeah.
her kid, she cares about her kids, but they're also tools to her. Because she's not a very good mom, so.
Oh, she's not. No.
No, and
Yeah, I mean, this is probably very obvious at this point. Yeah.
yeah, animus fight's kind of awkward, but yeah, you gotta give Turtle props for not trying to harm his sister that much. And then he accidentally makes himself like basically invincible in his scales.
Yeah.
And then wonder how that could play out the future,
Yeah.
if at all. And then like poor guy loses like his magic by the end because Darkstalker strips it from him. Like, yeah. I mean, I have problems with animus magic, but it's like poor Turtle. Like, poor guy just gets.
Yeah, he has been through so much. I don't think it's so much for a young guy to go through, really. Yeah, kind of see myself in him. Not gonna lie. Okay. Anyways, Atlas.
Going back to like the thing with why Anemone thinks like she has to follow these orders from like the kingdom. Frick, I literally forgot what I was gonna like say about that. Yeah, it's the way how she like tries to figure it out isn't really the best way. Like she thinks like, or it was like it was a callback to like book 2, where there it was like the scene with Tsunami and Anemone, and they were like talking about like, oh, I don't want to like marry anybody in the future, and then like Anemone's like, well, it's more like yawn Nami to death already. That's just how the system works, and she has to obey it.
Yeah.
But I think more so it's like she uses it as an excuse to do bad things. Is what I'm saying.
That's something I've noticed as well. Yeah. But yeah, this is what happens when you've been encouraged. Sometimes if you restrain a person for too long, they go rogue. This is what's happening. So yeah. Okay, Gabe, before we go to Epilogue.
I just want to mention again, they're trying to redeem an enemy. An enemy stands up for Turtle when Darkstalker starts trash talking, and then Darkstalker gets mad and silences her magically. Again, trying to redeem her. And
yeah.
Too little, too late if you ask me. But hey, if book 10 tries hard enough, maybe they save her, but we'll have to see.
Wait and find out. I'll leave you to it. But yeah, this book wraps up around like here, and we got like the thing about the epilogue is that it's a great ending, but I personally think this book has dragged on for a little bit long. Not gonna lie, the ending like really leaves the danger unresolved enough to propel to the next book. But Turtle has like changed in a very crucial way. He's still anxious, still quiet, and still not the kind of dragon who enjoys being seen. That's just his personality, really. But he's no longer defined only by the fear and failure he has experienced in the past. His arc in Talons of Power is like the transformation from a dragon who hides to a dragon who chooses to act anyway. The prophecy remains active, and like the Darkstalker crisis is far from over. So we got to see what actually happens in the next book. So like the general points is that like the Sand Kingdom is like hit by like a series of bombings, widening the scale of like the crisis beyond just Jade Mountain and the NightWing ruins. Now we're going into different traps as well, which is great. This Pyria thing now, maybe the equivalent of World War probably. The Icewing received like devastating news that King Glacier has fallen and dies shortly after that. And the broader arc like just ends not with just closure, but with the sense of Pyria is like becoming more unstable on multiple fronts, so things are really starting to seep out, and it cannot be contained any further. So you wonder what's going to happen next. Okay, go ahead, Gabe, and then King Feraligatr.
Two things I want to mention. Okay, first about the prologue. In my opinion, I feel like this is unnecessary, just in my personal feelings, because we already have unresolved tension because Turtle lost his magic and he's and he is a prisoner. And I think that's pretty solid cliffhanger because we don't know what's going to happen to him. For all we know, he could be dead next time we see him. I mean, that's not what Darkstalker said. I mean, he's probably going to be, he said he's going to be nice to him. He even apologized for taking his magic, which I find interesting, but we're running I only have so much time, so I can't get into it.
Mhm.
But yeah, I feel like this isn't really necessary, in my opinion. You could have just had this in the next book as like a prologue.
I guess, yeah, it could have been, but yeah. And again, I mean, it's there, but I don't think it's bad. But yeah, it does become a little bit excessive, especially when the book has already been that long. So I understand your point. Yeah.
And second thing, we can get to this after we're done discussing, but I think we should all like discuss on like how we rate this book overall.
Oh yeah, definitely. We can include that or overall in like as we get through the epilogue, because we are now getting towards the end anyways. Yeah. So King Feraligatr, what do you have to say?
There's a mention of like an albatross ghost, and I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
On like until I had to reread the epilogue, like it's just so out of nowhere, and just like, yeah, it's like, yeah, pirates and turmoil and stuff like that. But yeah, unevenly paced book means that an unevenly paced arc
Yes.
means that it's like,
that is my thought on arc 2. Like the pacing is quite off, but there are some really good highs.
yeah, it's just like, oh yeah, end of the world, and it's just like, can I actually play on? Are you gonna actually follow up on all this, or are you just doing shock value?
Yeah, exactly. So that's, yeah, I totally agree with your views on this. Yeah, and go ahead, Atlas. Actually, Fythir before Atlas.
Yeah. I was gonna say something about the albatross ghost as well. I think that it also makes somewhat sense. If you if you've read the legends, because the albatross ghost, because albatross, like, Fathom warned him about it like so often. Like he said all the crazy things about what happens with animus magic if it goes wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. So many things can go wrong, really. So, yeah. Atlas.
So I'm going back to like the scene where all the animus dragons were brought to the throne room, and that was like the first time I think we really get to see Jerboa. I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden she's just gone. Like, where did she go all of a sudden?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing. Inconsistencies is quite a bit here. Well, yeah, I don't know. It kind of gotten worse after. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I felt like arc 3 is a little worse on that regard. But yeah, it's.
And then, yeah, and then now we get to the part where Darkstalker is starting to learn, like, oh, there's something wrong here. I got to figure this out. So then he uses Kinkajou as like a way to like, as like a hostage to get what he wants, and that's Turtle. And then once he figures that out, like, oh yeah, you're a threat to me. I'm taking away your powers. Like, at the end of the book there, where it was like, shoot, now he doesn't have powers, but he at least sent a message to Qibli with that slate. But like that was like I need like that moment was like I need to know what happens next. You know what I'm saying?
Do you understand what you're saying? Yeah.
And such a good cliffhanger
but
right
again,
there.
I think the book is a bit too slow. Yeah. I mean, this is impressive. I mean, yeah. You guys got any like thoughts on like the overall book?
Yeah.
I mean, we've probably been.
I'd give it a 9. I give book 9.
Wow, okay, that's very
9
high.
out
That's
of
very
10.
high. I would probably give it like a 6. It's above average in my opinion. 5 is average. Not much.
I give it a 5.5 out of 10.
5.5. Okay.
Again, let me just explain the way at least I rank things. If something is an 8 or higher, it means I would engage with it again. A 7 to a 6 means it's acceptable, but there are issues, or it just doesn't excel. When something's a 5, it's on the brink of like being something I like. It's something that is like a mixed bag.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a good way to describe this, because there are interesting moments, but there are also boring and not as interesting moments.
Yeah. That is.
Again, so overall it's a mixed bag. So I would probably not read it again, at least not for a good while.
And then I've read it 27 times. Yeah, 27 times.
Man, you must be like a super
I am.
fan.
Yeah. Wow. King Feraligatr, your ranking.
I use the entire ranking scale, and I already have problems with the series. So this book doesn't get any, like, I like Turtle, but his book doesn't really get higher than like a 5. To me, it's probably, I don't know if it's like a 3, anywhere from like the 3 to 5 range, just because of how unevenly paced this is. It's still better than book 10. I mean, maybe on a good day, you could see me rate it a little bit higher than a 5, maybe not a 6, but like, it's just, the main highlight is like, I relate to Turtle, but this book is treading the water, and I don't feel like Tui did our poor boy justice. He's the most consistent of the main POVs in this arc, and I appreciate him for that. But there's problems in this book that are just going to compound in book 10, which is a train wreck.
Yeah,
in my opinion. So, book 10 is actually my least favorite book in this series that I've fully read. I couldn't finish Dragon Slayer, so take that as you will. I even consider book 15. Book 15 I even consider better, and that one's also a stinker.
I don't like book 15.
Yeah.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't even read the full series yet, so at least I can try and enjoy
you know,
it.
Even though this book has gone on for a very long time, for very long, the pacing's quite off. But I do think I will give it a 6.5 because I do like the character development. It goes quite deep into each character. It's quite balanced in that regard, but it's gone dragging on a little bit. But the character development, all the details, attention detail in the way they act, the way they think, I think is pretty good. And especially on the way how, all the sort of contrasting characters are being put like side by side. Kinkajou, Darkstalker, Turtle, and Anemone. These I think are definitely points that I would definitely give. I would give credit. These are still very well written, but it's just like the overall pacing, and I think the book could probably achieve a lot more. And I feel like Turtle, even though there's a lot of development, I feel like could have gotten a better perspective, and overall things could have worked a lot better.
Yeah, like that book 10 rewrite I was talking about, like, because there's like a supplementary fic that revises some earlier parts of it. It's like Turtle dealing with the corruption of animus. Also, I mean, it also gives like a parallel to an enemy who we've already said is essentially the protagonist of this book. I mean, yes, she's an antagonist, but that does not exclude it. The protagonist is just the main focus of the book. An antagonist is just simply someone who poses the protagonist. They don't have to be bad or anything. I mean, an enemy is bad in this book, but like at the very least she's a deuteragonist. But
it depends. It's very subjective. I feel like she's a secondary antagonist of this book, but a deuteragonist and second antagonist, they can be both. So I guess that works. But and Gabe, then Atlas.
All right, so I looked up the average of our grades, and our average is a 6.3 out of 10. So that's our final rating as a group for this book.
Right, yeah.
There you go.
It's not, in terms of like the book itself, I don't think it's bad, and I think overall all of us are like leaning in like the same ballpark of how much we rate it. So it's about a 6.3, so very close to 6. Yeah, definitely has a lot of flaws. It's not perfect by any means, but I think it's still the overall character developments and everything. It has its own satisfying moments, and it's still enjoyable to read, even though I might need to take a couple breaks sometimes when it drags on for too long. But yeah, and yeah, anyone else got a little bit more to add before we conclude?
Well, I will definitely.
Okay,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say. So, to people who are watching the podcast who've recently finished this book, Turtle will return in Avengers Dooms. Sorry, in Darkness of
No,
Dragons.
he's coming back in Avengers
Yeah.
Tuesday. That's where he's coming.
Avengers
Turtle
Doomsday.
Avengers Doomsday.
He's coming in Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah,
He's gonna
absolutely.
be the hero of Avengers Doomsday.
Avengers assemble. Yeah,
Dragonettes of
Dragons
Destiny
assemble.
assemble.
Let's go. Yeah.
Oh wait, are we gonna
Yeah,
talk
we did.
about the
We did.
epilogue?
Yeah.
Prologue? Wait, what?
Or
did.
like,
No, no,
sorry,
no.
the
Avengers
prologue.
Doomsday?
We already did talk about the
Yeah,
prologue a
we
ton.
just talked about the prologue of Avengers Doomsday.
We did talk about
We
it.
just
So
did that.
about the SeaWing and the Iceland Kingdoms and spreading. Yeah, we did talk about it.
Yeah.
You got any thought?
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think that's like a
is
while
this a
ago.
new record for like how long it took to write forward?
Bro, it has to be.
It's a new record. We've almost been going for 3 hours.
We're 5 minutes short.
Dude, if it's Darkstalker Legends, that's gonna beat us. I just know it.
Oh my gosh.
Darkstalker Legends is genuinely great, so like that deserves 3 hours.
I do want to be in that episode, but I don't know if they've.
Yeah, I thought it was a shorter discussion, but it's completely the opposite. It's the longest we've ever been. 2 hours and 45. This is insane. Yeah, the book is slow is painful, but again, there's so much that we just can't skim through it. Otherwise, we won't be able to get through things thoroughly. So I guess there's a lot to this book actually, but yeah, again, drags on for too long. Yeah. But yeah, it's really good to have you all here. Like, thank you very much for joining us as guests. This was really great. King Feraligatr, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've heard people jokingly say that this book should be called Turtle Hiding.
Turtle hiding. That would be good.
It's perfect. Wings of Fire, Book 9.
Turtle
yeah.
hiding.
Talons of
hiding.
Power.
Yeah.
Turtle hiding.
Yeah. Or Turtle.
So yeah, gonna wrap up with the outro now. Exactly what you're saying, Fythir. Thank you very much for everyone who's joining us, and for the audience. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's really good.
Can we have a few final words
Sorry.
each or something? Can we have like a few final words
Oh,
each?
definitely.
Or...
Yes, I'm about to ask you that. Yeah, your final words, remarks. Go ahead.
I mean, we can go in the order. I can go first.
Yeah.
or-
We can go in the order that we came with, if that helps. So that'll be Gabe, Atlas, Fythir, and then King Feraligatr.
I guess I'll thank you for inviting me, Atticus. It was nice to return to this series that I'm very close to, even though it's more flawed than I remember. It was nice to look at it under an analytical lens.
Yeah.
And also, I just gotta say this for my own honor. Listen, I know my guy's a dragon. We're talking about a dragon series, but I just have a normal interest in dragons, guys. Just normal. Level.
Okay, Dolphin.
Dolphin.
Just to clarify.
That's
No, that's not. No.
Keep this in the
Call
episode.
Scaly.
He is a dolphin. It is confirmed. Just replace him with the dolphin.
No.
Okay. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Atlas? Thank you very much, and you're very welcome, Gabe. Yeah, Atlas, go ahead.
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I really thought I wasn't gonna be able to qualify because I've not been able to qualify for anything Wings of Fire related, especially like voice acting projects. And Turtle will return in Avengers Doomsday. and
Yeah,
may the
well said, well
may
said.
the wings
Like,
of
bravo.
fire be
Like,
with you.
you're very welcome, and honestly, it has been a blast having you here. It's just so many different insights and crossing so many different things. You are a very unique guest, I can say. Everyone's perfect. You're very unique, and I can only
Thank
say,
you so
like,
much.
I'm very happy to have invited you to this episode. You're amazing. Yeah, keep it up and keep up the passion of reading different things and your creative pursuits. So, Fythir.
Will do.
Well, it's been fun. Hope I can do more episodes. And strawberry app.
Good to know. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure to get you all on the podcast. You guys, the applications are really, really strong, honestly. And yeah, if you guys want to return as a returning guest for like other episodes for second half of season 2 or even in season 3, don't hesitate to put in an application, and I'll definitely consider it, given how great you guys have done. And yeah, last but not least, King Feraligatr, what do you think?
Yes, the king himself. Yeah, thank you very much, Atticus, for sharing this. Yeah, I finally get to feel like I'm relevant to something. I'm finally on something that I feel relevant in. Yeah, I would love to like. I'll probably only want to be on like the WAF related ones because like some of the other I've already sent in an application. I hope to be sent like to like one of the later episodes.
Yeah.
Like later WAF episodes. Cool. I know I'm a cynical old coot, but you know what? Maybe that's just a different thing. Because I came into the series as an older reader, and I view it through the lens of an older reader because I have no nostalgia from back in the day. I only got into it last year, and I have I just feel like the series could be so much more if Tui would apply herself more. And the promise, I mean, okay, book 16 was definitely a step up from some of the previous entries, but I just like, well, at least book 15, maybe 14 and stuff like that. But it's just like, I feel like that she could do so much more.
Yeah.
But I'm just not the target audience. But that's why the fandom is here. And this series has a nice fandom. I mean, there's a lot of alternate universes. I'm no better. I have my own alternate universe that tries to quote unquote fix things. I'm not saying it does. I just so I'll be still working on that. I eventually hope to make it public release, public use eventually. Also, I will keep shilling Vezik's Within Without fanfic on Archive of Our Own.
Right.
He's almost done with it. Super great fanfic. If you have problems with Arc 2, like I do,
check it out.
It's a big improvement.
Yeah, go check it out. It's really good. I read some of it. Yeah.
And again, thank you to those listening. I hope you all do well, and hope to fly with you guys again some later day.
Yeah, that would be great. And you know, the thing is, sometimes having different perspectives is a good thing. And you know, age is just really a number. You know, you give a unique perspective. It's great, and you give us a lot of points to talk about. This has been a really good session. Much longer, but I think it's well worth it. We actually did cover a lot of things, and thank you very much for everyone for bringing so many points over. This is great. Like, this is awesome. It's lovely to have you all here. So yeah,
I wish we still had a listening audience so that we could take questions, but no.
Yeah, we don't have it this time, and also by the length of this episode, 3 hours. Oh, this is crazy, but.
Definitely also like a really underrated channel.
Oh yeah,
go subscribe, support this channel. This is we need like this to be like become more popular. I'm surprised that like not many people really know about this.
I shared that I was going on with this with some people in my circle. I also do some WAF role playing with some people, and the people I talk to, like I told them that I'd be on this. So I made them aware of it. I made that Vezik guy earlier.
Thank you so much.
I made Vezik aware of it because, I've just, yeah, spread the word. I like this.
Thank you.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
it was
Wings of
annoying
Fire.
everyone here. And yeah, of course, my pleasure. I hope, I'm glad that you guys just enjoyed it, and I hope everyone else in the audience who's listening to this later enjoyed the episode. Yeah. And I hope to fly again with you guys soon again. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a good one. Take care, guys.
See you guys.
Bye.
Farewell.
That brings us to the end of Season 2, Episode 4 of the Outlaws Podcast, covering Talons of Power. From Turtle's hidden magic to Anemone's growing instability and Darkstalker's influence spreading further. This book gives us plenty to think about as Arc 2 moves towards its finale. Thank you for listening, and huge thanks to everyone who helped make this episode happen. If you enjoyed the discussion, share the episode, leave us your thoughts, and join the conversation in the community. Until next time, keep your soul safe, and we'll see you next time.